Hello, everyone, and welcome to Answer the Call, the podcast where myself and Croncy talk about Star Citizen stuff with you guys. Sometimes we have a guest on, but most of the time, it's Answer the Call. It's a call-in show. So we have a Discord, discord.gg/SaltEMike. You guys can stop in there. We already have a pretty good queue already because this is a big week. Everybody's back as far as CIG communicating to their community, and they communicated a lot. Before we even start, out of 10, how do you give this week?
In terms of just like raw info dump, this is
It's a
this is like a
million.
9 or a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
Like it's insane. It's so much stuff at once.
Yes.
And this was without having like a roadmap roundup or a monthly report in the same week. It's
SCL
crazy.
was like kind of a roadmap roundup.
Well,
It was weird.
There's a kinda is doing a lot of heavy lifting in that.
True.
But which we'll get into obviously. But regardless, it was also a bit of whiplash going from like most of this month. Once again, of course, it's January. We don't get a lot of information in January, but going from essentially nothing to this much was wild.
Yeah, and they've never done anything like this at the beginning of the year. So I think we're getting ahead of ourselves a tiny bit. We did start the week off pretty slow. Well, sort of. They come out and they're like, this week in Star Citizen, we're going to tell you all about 323. And we're like, but it's February. This is weird, right? So like just starting out like that is something that they've never done in the past. They said that on both ISC and SEL that this is like totally different. And they were
it's usually a drip feed rather than just tease everything.
And the first video is usually not the like most informational video. It's like we're back, but we're starting off really slow. It's planning week, lots of excuses of why they don't have content. And it was kind of the exact opposite. They are doing basically what I expected. I'm assuming you expected it as well. They're going to be going back into the Citizen Con bag quite a bit and utilizing that because that's what they're working on. So a lot of the stuff that we heard this week, we already know. What we didn't know is that what we didn't know is where we thought it would fall. And that was probably more the exciting thing as far as some of the things that were discussed this week. Before we jump to that, just quickly, even this next week or so seems pretty busy. Today is the 4th. The 10th is the beginning of Lunar New Year, and the 14th is Valentine's Day. And I have a little bit of... And there was a post.
Just as a quick addition, I don't remember where I saw it, but people keep on telling me that it is correct, is that we're supposed to have roadmap roundup this week as well.
Yeah, February 7th. I think Jake just posted on Spectrum, so he said it would come out on the 7th. So I think that's where it is. It's just like random communications from Jake here and there. But we got a this month in Star Citizen, so that's a new post. We've never had any of those before. It's usually this week or whatever. And Siege ends tomorrow. So if you haven't done it yet and wanted to like collect armor or whatever, try to complete it. It's that. The weekly shows return. We'll talk about that in a few minutes. Bar Citizen World Tour Barcelona was yesterday. So hopefully that was fun. This is the stuff that I think kind of starts to be more relevant for at least maybe our viewer base. Coromore is Valentine's Day in the Star Citizen universe. What do you see here? I see sale opportunities. I see pink fire coming out of guns. Maybe that's a thing.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be mad at that honestly if there was like a like a gun flare thing. Like it's a pretty common thing in a lot of other video games.
I don't know how. There's some like realism purists out there. Customize the color of the bullet. What is it called? Gun. What is the name of the fire that comes out of a gun? It has a specific name.
Bullet flash. I don't know.
Muzzle flash,
Muzzle
yes.
flash.
That's what, yeah, muzzle flash. Like I am totally fine if we do have, and I see people say tracers as well. Like if
Yeah.
different color tracers and different color muzzle
Yeah. Yeah.
flashes, I don't care. I know there's
Yeah.
purists out there. I understand. I understand if you're purist, and I respect it. I personally don't care. I also see like they've been doing like those themed gun rushes. I see that happening here.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. For sure.
right? And then
That
just
makes
moving
sense.
down, same thing as last year, except this year looks to be the year of the dog, I think, for Lunar New Year, because that's what's on the little thing
Yeah. Yeah.
here. Last year we got wooden chickens.
Was
I'm
that
not,
last year?
yeah,
Oh
yeah.
man, time flies by.
We got wooden chickens. I'm not
Yep.
going to say
Yep.
what I would normally call
Some
them,
roosters. A couple of
roosters.
roosters.
And this year looks like the year of the dog. They're going to do the same thing. You pick up these cards and you sell them, and then I think if you do pick one up and sell it, you get them. You get the one of these permanently in your hangar or whatever. But yeah, I don't know what the actual year is, but since there's a dog here, I see somebody saying dragon in chat. Maybe it is the year of the dragon. I don't know.
As well as some good skin, like some nice skins. The
Red
Festival
skins.
skins always tend to be quite nice.
Yep.
They always
Pinks,
look pretty good. So.
pink skins for ships likely here in Koromor as well.
Yeah, I
right?
would say so.
Red skins, Red Festival. And then there's a free fly this month.
Yep.
So a lot of people have been coming by my stream. I'm assuming they've been coming by yours, saying, "Hey, I'm hearing good things. Is this the time to come back? Should I buy this game?" Like I'm seeing more of those comments than I normally see it.
Yeah, yeah.
No, try it for free yourself, right? You don't got to buy anything. These things happen way more often than they have in the past, I feel like. And yeah, take advantage of it. Check the game out yourself. You got that opportunity in February. See if it's good for you. Don't ask me. Figure it out for yourself. I think that's usually the best way to go about it. We're all different people.
Not to mention, this is usually one of the better free flies around this time because it's not during a massive event. Like, it's not during Invictus or IAE.
Yeah, the
servers tend to be a little bit better in general. Yeah, it's a good time.
Scuffed referral bonus. They've done this one a few times, so it's not like one that I would be.
It's been a while though since we've gotten a pledge vehicle for a referral bonus. I'd have to look up when the last time we did was because they're giving away armor, and skins,
like guns and stuff, like that kind of thing.
But these ones are always like, they're great. So
fair enough. But yeah, so that was the this month in Star System. That's how they kind of like started the week out for us. A little slow, but also letting us know that maybe we're getting more patches. Like there wasn't a PTU this week outside of Evo stuff, which for now we're not going to be discussing. I'm really trying to allow us to at least have some small discussions about at least the patch notes or something that is already extraordinarily public. But for now, we'll hold on that. But the outside of Evo, there was no PTU patch. So is all this stuff just going to come in without any testing? We got a few days, so I'm assuming we're going to get some PTUs during the week coming up to see some of this stuff and make sure it's all somewhat stable. Also, it's not. Excuse me. I'm glad I left this on the screen. That red armor and gun is also part of the referral, not just the Drake.
Oh, sweet. Yeah.
So yeah, that's kind of a.
That's nice.
I think those were only sold up to this point. I don't know if they were ever part of any referrals or any easy way to get. So this is maybe
I don't
a little
recall
bit
being
easier.
able to loot them at the very least. I'm not sure. There's a set that looks really close to it, so it always breaks me and I always forget which one's which. But I don't think we were able to.
You're able to loot everything, like 3 to 6 months after it's been sold.
I meant like,
but it's so
like
hard
NPC
to find a
loot
set.
or like sold it like thing. Yeah.
Yeah, NPC loot is easier to find. Finding a full set in a loot container is so hard. It's crazy. Yeah. So that was really that for the beginning of the week. Nothing crazy, but I do this every time. One of these days I'm gonna get it right. I have a button to turn it off to, and I haven't made the. Damn it! I'm gonna get a good one time. I'm gonna be a good host one time,
We're great
guys.
at this.
If it wasn't scuffed, it wouldn't be answer the call. So, yeah, that was the beginning of the week. But then we got into the juicy stuff. Do you want to start out with ISC, I guess? Because that's what they kind of start out. Or if there's anything else you wanted to jump in before we got into that.
I was just going to say, and then there was nothing else for the rest of the week.
Yeah,
so
nothing happened. Boring
ISC is back. And, we talked last week about how they announced that the way that they're going to be doing ISCs and SCLs for the foreseeable future is going to be a little bit different, and it's going to be focused like still focused around the upcoming patch, but like mostly that, and they're going to keep on going until the patch releases. And they started it off with actually letting us know what some things that we should expect, or should at least hope for, will be arriving in 323 with ISE. So it was
Can I jump
two
in?
major things.
Can I jump
Yeah,
in
go ahead.
before we go into that? Because like
Yep.
last week I made the argument of like I wasn't sure if it was going to be mostly focused on like the game, because they always did the we're going to share game development thing, and that was like the last sentence they said, and I was like, oh god, I really hope it's not like this all year. And they it's from everything like SCL, ISC, everything that they spoke about today. Jared had a schedule of what they were going to be talking about, and mentioned it a few times on SCL. It was all game related stuff. So
the one caveat is that when he did mention, once again, we got a lot of stuff to talk about, but at the end of the SCL, he did mention that next week they would be talking to a team that we often don't get to hear from. And it sort of sounded a bit more like it was going to be one of those ISCs where they kind of just go like, hey, who are you? What the hell do you do in the company? And what is your work? My prediction is it's going to be the mocap team, because we haven't heard from them for years.
Whatever. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. But SCLs at the very least, they do sound like it's going to be like, here is the team responsible for this item in 323, and here's what they did, or what the feature is about.
Ooh, I had a hate thread this week as well on Reddit, so I'm back, baby. It was awesome.
True. Every time you get a hate thread, Star System pops off. So we're doing good, guys.
Yeah,
It's a good signal. It's like, the hedgehog trying to figure out if it's winter or not. That's if Mike has a hate thread on Reddit. That we know it's going well.
We'll touch on it a tiny bit in the SCL section, but we're back, baby.
Yeah.
We're doing good. I am so back. But yeah, so ISC, I'll let you jump back into it.
So ISC. So two major features were there was more in there, but two major features were talked about in ISC. Oh yeah, sorry, groundhog, not hedgehog. They're the same thing. I don't know. I'm Australian.
Are they? Yeah.
When the kangaroo looks out, I don't know. So the two major things that they talked about were EVA, the new EVA, which looks beautiful, looks fantastic, looks intuitive. No idea if it feels intuitive, but it looks intuitive.
It's smooth. It just looks smooth.
Yeah. Yeah.
How jarring has EVA been for so many years in so many ways? This just looks smooth.
Yep. And it looks like I also know where I am. You know what I mean? Like you get a sense of where your body is positioned, I think, when you actually see this. So yeah, very hyped for that. And then the second half dealt with the new personal interaction system brought over from Squadron. And then there was also some Easter eggs in there as well. But yeah, the EVA, it looks great. We first got a look of this at CitizenCon 2022, I think. It was the last online one.
Yep.
Where they showed, both that as well as the, I forget what they're calling it, but when you're sort of like climbing up ships and stuff, they showed a bit of that there.
Yeah. It like not zero G push and pull, but because that's something that they mentioned as like an even further away thing. It was let me look at actually
zero G traversal.
Yeah, traversal.
Is what they called it. Yeah. But the actual EVA looks fantastic. It looks really good. It looks really intuitive. I'm excited for it. I'm excited to get my hands on it. And I'm excited to only faceplant when I truly try to.
Yeah.
Looks like the way they've done it. From at least the visuals of the ISC, it looks like the way that it works is anytime you enter an area that's got gravity, it'll just immediately try to right you up. Like just put you in the right way. Rather than, well, you're coming in, but all of your parts are in weird spots, so then you just end up toppling over yourself.
Yeah, I that's the one thing that I noticed that was like, okay, this is a bit unpolished. Totally fine with it being like some of the animations were very like quick and like that wasn't as smooth, but they also expressed in the show that, they are going to improve some of these things. Yeah, here's like zero G traversal, and I think from here they do show a little image of or a little video of the player coming from EVA down onto a landing pad at
Mhm.
security post Korea, and it is like more jarring than you would expect it to be, but
Yeah.
it still if it's not here, it's after this.
Yeah.
But
Quick
like,
reminder as well, just for everyone, that this is not coming in 323.
yes,
They explicitly said that.
yes, and we have to be very sure about that
Yeah.
because Jared was very adamant about that on SCL, and I definitely responded somewhat negatively towards that. I did not think at all he was speaking to me, which a lot of people thought of. I don't have as big of an ego as people might think I do, but I think that they were definitely speaking to the people that were like that. Here's the like, see that
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of
yeah.
jarring
That.
animation or
Yeah,
whatever.
it's very jarring, but it's one of those things where it's like I feel like it's good just because it's good for the gameplay. Doesn't necessarily matter if
Exactly.
it looks a bit weird if you're coming in that way.
Everything they're
But
showing is in third person. Doesn't matter what it looks like in third person.
yeah,
Matters what it feels like in first person. Take your time making it look good in third person. We don't need that,
yeah,
right? But
yeah,
yeah, just
exactly.
the thing about like I think that they were talking more about like the Noobifier kind of guys who cut a lot of things out and try to break things down to as quickly as possible. So naturally, anybody who follows the development through those lenses are gonna miss things, right? It's just
Yeah.
normal. There, the just sometimes I feel like I have to be on the defensive, so I feel like I'll just put this out there. If you do watch any of my content, specifically week in review, I take the developer and what they say and put that at the forefront first. Share my opinion about what they say, but the developer says everything that they say because it needs to come from their mouth and not
Mhm.
mine. Because again, I don't have that big of an ego. It's more important for them to tell you so you can inform your own opinion, right? And I'll
Yeah,
have mine, but you can also have yours.
yeah.
But yeah, so that was cool. And then they moved to what I would consider one of my top three most important things to come into Star Citizen from CitizenCon, and that was the interaction
Mhm.
stuff.
Yeah.
That's huge. There was a question on SCL about it that
Mhm.
people hated the fact that there was little Fs all over the place. How did you feel about that? Uh,
I didn't mind it because I trust them to do it in a good way of like, yeah, if you're far enough away, it doesn't pop up. Like that style of interaction exists in a lot of games. I've
yeah,
never really heard people complain about it before. So I think
exactly.
because they were showing the new tech, they're gonna show it when it's working. They're not gonna show it when you're 20 feet away, not looking at relevant items, right?
Hmm.
It's likely to be fine. If it goes into PTU and it's not, then
Yeah,
put a thing up on Spectrum or whatever and say,
yeah,
hey, there's too many Fs around the place. Yeah,
yep.
it'll be fine.
Then feel free to give your feedback, right?
Yeah.
But I got some of these things ready to go. For me, I think it's crazy to argue that. Let me see. Hopefully, it's here. That the systems that they showed in ISC are worse than what we had before. A little square F that says inspect rather than a paragraph of words that are impossible to click.
Yep.
Why are we
Every time you go to
focused?
one word, it actually says, oh, you want to interact with this other item that you weren't even
Yeah,
looking at? Yes. Yeah.
exactly. Like, why are we not going, oh, yeah, that's way better?
Yeah.
Like, oh, yeah, that's way better. I want to pause it here.
Mhm.
Did you notice this? I don't know if everybody caught this. This was something I found to be very interesting that nobody talked about. This is the interaction wheel. The interaction wheel
Yep.
allows you to customize what the default action is
Mhm.
when you touch a gun or a Pico. What they didn't say was a button on your ship. What I'm seeing here is I get to choose what that button on my ship does. So I now get to decide
Ooh.
potentially that button can either open my exterior, lock or unlock my ship.
That maybe, but it also might be a stretch just because it's on a reclaimer and the reclaimer doesn't have updated buttons. So
They
like
look
the
updated
Hercules,
now.
the MSR,
Oh,
all of
like the
those
ones that
buttons are in like
move.
specific locations.
I think they're getting away from
and
that
this one
shit.
doesn't have that.
I think they're getting away from that. And
Maybe
you say
because
that
this is easier and better
you
if it was like this for sure. Yeah.
you say that, but there's only 3 options, and they're all relatively unique to each other. So I don't get to customize it completely, but I get to choose what the single tap is and what the double tap is. So, all right, I'll single tap to
Oh
open
yeah, yeah, yeah,
exterior,
sure.
and I'll double tap to lock and or unlock or something, right?
Right.
So,
So you might just have a
yeah,
button tied to doors.
yeah.
Now you can do that. Yeah, like I think that would be better. I think you definitely are huffing. But like, well,
I
you're
don't
not
think
really
so.
huffing, but I think this is big. Like that's big speculation.
Hold up, hold up.
I
Let
would not have drawn the same conclusion.
let's see if I'm. Let's go back just a teeny tiny bit. If there's no stars next to the icons, then I'm huffing. Okay. If there's a star next, okay, no stars. Oh no, there's stars.
Actually,
There's
no.
a star on open
Yeah, there's one on
exterior.
open exterior. Yeah.
Yep. So I'm not huffing then. So you
All
actually
right.
get to customize.
All
Take
right.
that, copium huffers. But yeah, then they
Fair enough.
show again. The wheel is a big thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
How did I saw very little kickback on the wheel,
hmm
but it was there.
Yeah. No, the wheel's good. It's first off, the UI for it is great. I think it looks fantastic. It's it sort of shows itself enough without you know being super obnoxious on the screen. So I like that. It also, I assume it's just sort of designed to be more in line with the Squadron 42 aesthetics in game. Um,
A lot of people are
yeah,
calling
I like it.
console out.
Yes, we talked about that on Tomatoes podcast.
Hmm. I was supposed to be there. My
The
bad.
wow, classic Mike. Uh,
I had family
we
show up.
nah, it's fair. You know, I think that this is one of those instances where it's like it wasn't made necessarily with console in mind, but it is one of those like happy coincidence sort of things where it does port over very well. Because
Yeah.
I've played games that are PC only that have this style of UI
Yeah.
because it's also very easy to navigate with your mouse and whatnot.
Hmm.
But it, yeah, once again, happens to also be very, very easy for a controller to use.
I can't get Sandy's voice at the Chinese bar citizen out of my head. Do you guys want to play Squadron 42 on console or PC? Like, why would you even ask that? So, like, it's always like, oh, God, here we
Because then
go.
they can take that soundbite at everyone screaming and then sell it to Sony.
Yeah. Oh, geez. You think that they would actually work with the publisher? No shot.
I think they'd work with a console for sure, but like probably self-publish at that stage. But that
Mm,
I think that's down the line rather than initial release. You know what I mean?
yeah.
But anyway,
I I think this was probably the best examples that they showed of the
yep,
system. This was really where they showed the speed of everything.
yes,
This was customizability, and this is where I think they first started to show the speed. Like, all right, you
yep,
obviously cannot put the bigger guns in your backpack, so the store option was what they first showed, and then they switched it over to holster, and that made it so everything was easily able to equip from here. And you just take it and you put
okay,
it on your back, right? Very simple.
yeah, yep,
Shows how simple the system actually is, and then I think from here we start to see little things like picking things up very quickly,
yep.
med pens, ammo,
The ammo,
instant,
the ammo pickup was so good. That got me so
right?
excited.
Right, and like it's crazy that something that simple would get us excited, but
Yep.
that is a 10-second interaction in
hmm
live right now
While you're getting shot at.
while you're getting shot at. Well,
Yep.
while the
Well, while they're
NPCs
shooting
are
at the areas around you.
yeah, well the NPCs are like yelling and about something you did 10 seconds ago. You know, it's still a somewhat stressful situation, and now it's a little bit a lot of
Yep.
it better. So I think that was pretty much it for ISC. It was very much a recap
The
of CitizenCon for me.
The only other thing that I would add is, yeah, little bits in ISC that hinted at what we were going to sort of see in SCL, although we didn't know exactly what we'd see in SCL. Like in that second section, we see all of the new UI elements. And the
Yeah.
fact that they
Let me
were saying,
try.
hey, here is the new interaction system with minimap, bearings, the UI, all that stuff. So not that one, but be further on. Um,
I'm looking for the
yeah.
customizer as well.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, the
I might
animations
I
for
might not have
customizing
that.
your gun and stuff. Um, all of that stuff was in a 323 build
Yeah.
that they wanted to show. So it was like, all right, cool. So we're actually getting a little bit more information about what we're likely to see. And then pretty much all of that stuff was then confirmed to be target for 323 when
Yep.
we got to SCL. So
Mhm. Yeah, so that's
yeah.
pretty sick. The SCL was just wild. Um
Hey, Mike, are you proud of me? I watched it.
yes, I you had to. Like there was no way you
Yeah.
can't watch that one because it was actually worth watching. The
Yep.
I'm going to preface everything that I say today with I am very excited
Mhm.
after SCL. But I'm not excited for what 99% of the community is probably excited about from that SCL. I don't believe yet that anything that they have stated so far will be in 323,
Sure.
right? We don't have any PTUs. We're super far away from when a 323 will probably release to live or even an open
Yeah.
PTU. So there's a
Yeah.
lot of time for things to go wrong and for things to happen, and they always do.
Mhm.
But again, I said I was super excited. I'm super excited for what they're prioritizing. The fact that they're prioritizing
Mhm.
certain things, the fact that they're working on those things, I'm very, very happy. And I will leave it at that. Right. And then we'll just
Yep.
let the next few months happen. Every ISC that they show, I'm happy you're prioritizing the things that you are prioritizing, or I won't be, but most likely I will be because everything so far that they've talked about is awesome. It's just a matter
Yeah.
of how will it come into the game? Because they could talk all they want. They could show the video capture however they want. How will it be for us? I think you stated that at the beginning as well. That's
Yeah.
my only caveat. It's not being super negative. It's just 12 years of this, 11 years of this, however long it's been. Too long of this and not a lot of actual action of us playing those things in the game. This
Yep.
year, it really feels like it could be different, but I'm
Yeah.
not going to say it is different until it is.
Yeah. The
So
the
cautiously
feeling different.
optimistic.
The feeling different. I fully sort of agree with. I feel like the last time that, and we'll get into the features themselves, but like the last
Yeah.
time that they talked about this many features for Star Citizen was like as like at once was when they used to do roadmaps very differently, and they had the roadmaps for like the next 4 patches, and
Yes.
they'll be like, here's all the stuff getting dumped. And then obviously, you would get to those patches and more than half of the things were pushed or removed or whatever. We'd still get some stuff, but it was
Hmm.
very much like that that was them predicting things incorrectly constantly.
Yep. And it
Um
and it feels
yeah.
like we're falling down that same trap, but we're not because
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
different. Because they
It's
worked on
different
these
because
things in
it's the
Squadron.
next patch.
Well,
It's
no,
the next one,
it's
right?
not
Like
even
we'll probably get a .x,
it's
but
not even
like
because it's the next patch. It's because they worked on a lot of this stuff for a while. Richard Tyre popped into
true.
chat
Yeah.
today and just says it is different. And
Yeah.
like it's so hard for me to like it doesn't matter what anybody says still. Like I have been I have third degree burns from the amount of times that CIG has burned me on stuff like this. I am chilling, right? I'm
Yeah.
chilling. I'm very happy, okay? But
Yeah.
I am not going to I'm not going to take the it is comment and be like, it is. He said it is. I'm just gonna go, okay, we'll see. I hope it is, and that's
Well,
it.
for those of us that are a bit more hopium, um,
You only have
and probably
first
too
degree
much opium.
burns, you got a little
Yeah,
fucking
exactly.
you scraped your knee.
I've barely been hurt. It's like, oh, what happened? I don't have hacking. I got everything else. But yeah, the like they would go like, here's 4 patches worth of stuff. It would all get removed. They changed to, we're just going to let you know like what's coming in the next patch,
Mhm.
and it would very occasionally become smaller.
Yeah.
Like there was only a couple of times where things would get removed. Mostly things would just get added as
Re
the weeks went on or whatever.
I thought the roadmap change was really, really successful. And I
Yeah,
thought that
it was.
Jared at the end of the year going, this is the next 6 months roadmap was really fucking stupid. But
It was until
but
today.
until
Well, yesterday or whenever it came out.
It
where they said,
still
"Well,
might
actually,
it
yeah,
still might be stupid depending on
I know
if
it's
something falls off. Like the major
it
if
is. It's just the confidence, Mike. The confidence they have. That's getting to me. That's the thing that's making me extra hopium.
should I replay you the patch watch videos?
Not just the patch watch videos. You should replay the section from SCL where Jared's saying, like, guys, do not
Chill out.
take this. Yeah, chill out.
Chill out, guys. Yeah, okay, can we talk about that for a second?
Yeah,
Jared
yeah,
was so based. That was
yeah.
awesome, but at the same time, it's like that one was fine.
Yeah, yeah.
I think because yes, just live in the moment and enjoy whatever you have now. But when you hide things in drip feed and yeah, people
Yeah,
want so it's like, come on, bro. Like the
yeah.
guy's
I think
excited.
the big thing, and definitely the thing that Mike and I probably agree on, is like, yeah, it is all a lot of cool stuff. The important stuff is when we're actually going to get to see it in game.
Yeah,
I am just more optimistic. Well, I'm always optimistic, but I'm more optimistic than I would normally be that
as am
these
I.
features are coming. So
As am I. Just to be
yeah,
very
yeah,
clear, but I will still just chill, and I'm
yeah.
really excited to see what the first open PTU looks like. Really excited to see that
Yes,
because this
yes.
would be the first patch that we really should see the result of what Squadron 42 polish would mean, right?
Yeah.
So whatever it ends up being, I am very excited to just find out what that meant, right?
Yep.
Was it worth it? Feels like it probably will be. I certainly hope it is. You want to get into some of the features they talked about? First
Yeah,
one,
yeah, we should because we've already got callers waiting as well.
true. First
So
one
we got
blew
a lot
my
to do.
mind. Well, not blew my mind.
The
Distribution center.
yeah,
Because they talked about EVA, and the beginning was
yeah, yeah,
very much back on what ISC was talking about. Didn't really add anything
yeah.
to it. First thing that was like pretty exciting, surprising, whatever, is and Richard Tyler says, by the way, loot screen includes armor. I assumed it
Sweet.
did, but yeah, good to get that confirmation. So
Thank you, Rich.
post that on Reddit, guys, because I'm sure people will be happy about that one. Just to confirm that for sure. We'll get to that, I think, but
Mhm.
the discussion on SCL around distribution centers,
Yep.
they didn't look very polished at CitizenCon. They were all gray, only gray box,
Yeah, yep.
and I do have some vidya on that.
Mhm.
I gotta skip ahead though a little bit to get to them. They're very gray box, but they are very
Yep.
much fitting the description and how they described it
Mhm.
on SCL for what we saw at CitizenCon. So it seems like what we saw is what we're getting, just in a more polished
Oh,
version.
yeah,
But
exactly.
I don't think we're getting the whole thing. And this is where they
Correct.
really set the expectations, I think, correctly for this. But you really have to listen, and it's a long
Mhm.
show. You might have missed it. It sounds like the intention is to use Rastar and to tie a few missions to this and see
Yeah.
how it goes. That's okay.
Yep.
That's
Yeah.
okay.
It's
Right?
not only okay. I think that's great. Like
Yeah.
I'm really excited. Like, give me an
Small
eliminate all
step.
mission here, and I'm so happy. Because like the fact, anytime you have new locations, that can really change how any mission interacts and how it feels. Like you can do an eliminate all mission here and start by sniping far away, right? And
Maybe.
then you have to be forced to move in and go into the internals, not necessarily the underground, because I'm a bit iffy if we're actually going to see any underground parts of these when they
Yeah,
release, based on what they've shown us.
they mentioned it on SCL, but you never know sometimes what is for this patch and what is planned
Yeah.
for the future sometimes. Again, Jared made a comment like they are super clear all the time with this. They are not. All right?
They are, because Rich just said in chat.
Okay.
You get an outside and interior, but not all the way down to the bottom. The bottom section will come later.
There you go. Perfect. So
Yeah.
as on SCL, they made it sound like there was a type of mission that was an in-betweener where it looked
Yeah.
like it was a lawful location, but when you went deeper, that's what they said, that
Yeah,
it
yeah.
would show that it wasn't. So that's more clarification there. Thank you, Rich.
Yeah,
You're the man. Rich did this at CitizenCon for us. Like anytime we had questions, he answered it. So throughout the podcast, we will be updating you on what he said.
yeah.
But yeah, he said the location is so big and it is actually split into several mission locations, so you should get lots going on at the same time. Very cool.
Yeah.
So there could be different missions. People could be doing one mission at one time, and another two different groups could be doing missions at the same time. Is what it sounds like, which is really cool.
Which makes sense. They're just so massive. They look huge. It makes sense that there would be multiple things going on at once. So
Yep.
I am glad about that, especially because it's going to add a lot of. It's going to add to the interactions of the game, even with the 100 people that we have right now. Actually seeing other people do things rather than just seeing them in the landing zones, right?
Yeah, they also mentioned this is, you might be getting cargo here, distribution center. Yep. They said factions a lot. I had to ask, and thank God there was a dev in the chat. Factions do mean like companies in the game. It's not like factions in some MMOs how you might see it.
I declare allegiance to Kovalex shipping.
yeah, it was a little weird the way they said it because it's just their internal term for it. But these are coming in exactly how I expected them, in pieces, not the full thing. Slowly but surely get it in. And then Jared very much hinted at something bigger that I cannot wait to tell you about what we're doing with these things. How could it be anything other than this? The raid that we saw at CitizenCon, right? That's my assumption of what this is that's the thing that we would like to tell you about sooner, sometime soon. Maybe they need to get the video, or it needs a little bit more polished, because it was very faked at CitizenCon, right? Yeah. Very fake. They just wanted to show the intention of what they were trying to portray. We saw, obviously, some jump puzzles and some FPS and stuff, and cool. They sold it really well. I think that they want to, instead of sell it, show it. And that's my assumption. Pure speculation here on this one, but it just makes sense. What else major thing would they show here outside of this, right? This was the big ticket item.
There could be elements of, we've already seen the very basic, version of one of these. There could be some different skinned ones maybe that could come out, but I think you're probably right on the money. It's going to be mission related to do with these, but we'll see what happens there. The other thing that I wanted to mention about this, I believe there was a couple of things throughout the SCL that Jared said. But he said there'd be an ISE on essentially everything, but some of those are coming sooner rather than later. And I believe this one, he said something like, "Oh, in 2 weeks we've got this the ISE for
the distribution center."
These. Yeah. So
okay.
If
we'll
I recall
a lot more
correctly.
detail.
Yeah.
And then again, Rich says you'll definitely get missions similar to that CitizenCon video, but not fully blown raids for 323. So maybe we will be using the trolley. Maybe we will be interacting with some cargo or something. They did not they made it very clear that was something that was coming later. That was not a 323 thing. So Rich confirms it here, but just in case it wasn't very clear to you guys, but by what we were saying, again, I definitely heard Jared and I respect what he was saying, and I always try to be as very clear as possible with what they say, is that sounded like something that was much further down the line that they were really excited to share with us. So cool. So
we've got a lot of features to go, so I think we just go to the next one.
Sure.
So master modes. So I got called out for not watching the SCL before the podcast that I did. They do say master modes itself in PU 323.
All
Once again,
ships.
aiming for 323. Which was very surprising to me. I would have expected that we would have seen more of these ships in Arena Commander first before making the move. But it looks like they might be ready. So that's a pretty big deal, because that's a literal game changer in that, if that does make 323, we're going to be playing the game completely differently.
Yeah. It's they're ripping the Band-Aid off. And I know that there's been some back and forth in the community about whether they like this or whether they don't. I don't really have a preference. I set my expectations for this year as there's going to be some friction on enjoying the game. As long as the features are, as long as they're taking feedback on the features and iterating on them, I'm not sure I really care if they put it in super tier 0. One of
Yeah.
my biggest critiques and criticisms of them over the years was specifically the idea of putting in a tier 0 feature and then ignoring it for 3 years and thinking that's totally acceptable and fine, which it's
Yeah.
not. Um, so they do very much sound like, with the additional devs and all these things and the polish that they've added in Squadron before coming over to us, that likely will be a different scenario. I just
Yep.
don't know how you do something like master modes without polishing it. Um,
Well,
yeah, Rich just said I don't like tier 0. Neither your community loves it. The amount of people that say, by the way, don't you know this is tier 0? I don't mind things being tier 0, man. Personally, just as long as it's only tier 0 for the patch, and that
yeah.
we're like going, all right, well, like I think the best example is what a lot of the devs said about the structural salvage stuff. It's fine for it to be
Yeah.
tier 0. Just let us know this isn't it. I just want to know this
Yeah.
isn't it. I know we all know that this isn't it forever on a lot of features, but I mean, look around the game. Okay? We've had the EVA system that we're so excited to change for a really long time. We have the
Yeah.
looting system and the interaction system that we're so excited to change for a really long time, right? So, yeah, it's time on a lot of these things. So
Yeah.
hopefully they're building on stuff more. So Master Modes is
Yep.
definitely that for me.
Yep.
Stick with it, build upon it, take our feedback, and so on. Relative to feedback, I do want to talk about one thing, and I'm curious what you guys think about it, and something more for the callers to talk about. One of my biggest concerns was the team going over to Squadron and not giving a shit about our feedback. And one thing
Right.
that I
Like not
thought,
giving a shit about like star citizen feedback.
sort of. So one of the things that we talked about earlier about the F things popping up with the interactions is on SCL. People were complaining about it, and Johnny, the dev, is like, "Well, we liked it, so we
Yeah.
don't care. We don't really care what you think because we've played it and it doesn't bother us." And I was like, "That's fine for something like that for me, but the way
But
they
does it
handled."
translate elsewhere?
Yeah, but the way they handle master modes is totally different. And that's
Mm.
okay. Because if we take all the little nitpicky feedback from the community on every little thing, the game never gets done, right? So for
Yeah.
big major features like obviously interaction's a big major feature, but it's not
Yeah.
master modes, it's not mining, it's not cargo. It's different. So the back and forth on those I think is cool. The back and forth on whether there's an F on your screen, I'm gonna leave that up to the professionals to decide.
Yeah.
And if they feel like over the course of a good amount of time that we don't really like it and we want to change it, then they can when they have time. That's just
Mhm.
my feelings on that. I don't know how you feel.
Yeah. It's not something I've thought about, to be fair. Like that sort
Yeah.
of aspect. I do think that regardless in Star Citizen, they tend to listen to most feedback. Whether they enact it is very different depending on what feature it
Yep.
is. But for something like that, I mean,
They don't
yeah,
usually
I'm
brush it
not
aside, and he brushed
exactly.
it
Yeah,
aside live, so it really stuck out to me, and I was like, "Damn, okay, that was pretty based. All right."
that's because you're going to enjoy what I tell you to enjoy, Mike.
Exactly. I enjoy it, so I know. So therefore, you do, and you're gonna enjoy it. Okay. And I was like, okay, I enjoy it. I will press F. Okay. I'm sorry. Everybody, type F in chat right now. So
Um,
yeah.
to piggyback on master modes as well,
Hmm.
two other major changes that once again they said they're aiming for 323.
Yeah.
Precision aiming mode, which I think the first time we saw it was at CitizenCon, if I'm not mistaken. I think that was the reveal of it.
Yes.
And the other thing that we already knew about, but they just talked about it a bit more, which was the gimbals. They're messing around. All guns, with some exceptions, will be gimbaled, and that's just how it's going to work now. So there's going to be some instances there.
If you guys don't know that the gimbal thing is gone, you're not testing CIG. or you're not testing master modes because it's been there for a
Yeah.
while. Like that is not new information. And people were like,
Yeah. No.
wait, what? And you're like, wait, you pay attention enough to watch an SEL, but you haven't tried
But
master
not
modes
to.
yet? Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's interesting. So yeah.
So
But
yeah, those, once again, those things already talked about. It's just more like, hey, you know, here is a little bit of extra detail about this, like minute parts of it, and that yeah, aiming for 323.
yep. I'm trying to think of what was next. I have a
Oh,
little
I've got this list up. I can go
go
next.
for
So
it.
this is by time as well, so you could go
Perfect.
like through the SCL. Next up, sort of. They started kind of talking about the player interactions again, and like some of the extra stuff into that. So the first thing is
Hmm.
repacking, reloading of magazines,
I got
the
a lot to
dynamic
say about
crosshair,
this. Can we
and
stop at
quality of life.
Can we stop at
Yeah, yeah,
repacking? CitizenCon 2023, they showed taking a magazine and putting it into another magazine. It automatically, magically became one magazine. They were both
yeah.
15. They became a magazine of 30. And I was like, cool. Let's not do it that way, though, because magic is weird and I hated it. I do watch a bit of Escape from Tarkov. One of the things that I
Hmm.
do think is really a good part of that game is the click, 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 click of, oh, like I got to repack my magazines, and you're sitting there, you're making
Yeah.
noise, you're vulnerable. People could be pushing on you, all those things. I think that was like a very important part of that game. Tedious, sure, but kind of necessary for a hardcore game like that. Star Citizen, not as hardcore of a game as Escape from
No.
Tarkov, somewhere in between. What option do they give us? The in between. And I thought it was the perfect solution for a game like Star Citizen. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So
Um,
yeah, yeah,
the
I'm happy with that. It's just going to make FPS a bit more enjoyable, a little less tedious, and a little less hyper realistic
to
in
be
that aspect at least.
to be clear, we'll probably have like some sort of a keybind. I'm not sure what they really
I
said,
imagine so.
or like an interaction where you can repack a mag. It plays a little animation, and you're done. And the animation will
Yep.
play based on how many bullets you need to put in. So very Escape from Tarkov, but not as tactile. Like Escape from Tarkov goes
Yeah, yeah,
super in depth, where you can like choose where the bullets go in the mag, like which, like you can have
yeah, yeah.
multiple different types of bullets, like
We also don't know how many bullets are left in your gun because you don't have a UI for that.
yeah.
You've got to go into your inventory to find that out, which I think is a bit much. Like Star Citizen should not have that aspect.
Exactly. Like a
Yeah,
strategy in Tarkov is to have a tracer round be your last bullet, so you know you ran out of bullets
yeah,
or
yeah.
you're getting low. It's like, okay, dude,
Yep.
that's serious. I don't think, yeah, like we don't necessarily need something like that, but
Yeah.
yeah. So Rich just on that says uniqueness of SC is the breadth of all the features, not necessarily going super mining the Balrog deep on one feature. So yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed. Now,
Um,
what did you have next?
Yeah,
'Cause
so as part of that as well, so there was just additional quality of life FPS weapons, which we're always a fan of quality of life, and I fully believe that they're going to continue doing what they've done with the last like four patches and
mhm.
just add extra quality of life features.
Yep.
But the dynamic crosshair, so it feels weird because it just feels different, but it's a pretty big staple of a lot of games now.
A lot of games have it. I
So yeah,
personally don't like them, but I just
really,
put yeah, I like, again, I more enjoy games like Escape from Tarkov, at least watching
yeah, yeah,
them, and I think it's it's very cool to watch somebody point fire with no crosshair on their screen
sure.
and them
I
hit.
will say one thing that was talked about with that specifically,
Yes, I
that
know where you're going.
even if you don't like dynamic crosshair is a good thing, is that they talked about, well, this is also tied to like what helmet you're wearing. Like you
Hmm.
won't have that
Combat based
if you're
helmet,
wearing like a engineering helmet, or I
exactly.
think they said the words medical gear or something like that.
Yeah.
Um,
Which
so yeah,
isn't, that's not something crazy to hear. They very much implied that with the armor discussion
yeah,
at CitizenCon anyway, right?
yeah.
All right, what else you got? I should have some video for
Uh,
something coming up next.
Next up, Star Map.
Yes.
So yeah, so we saw a little bit of the mini map
Hmm.
in the ISC, but the star map, including search functionality, improved visual representation of maps, and many other quality of life improvements. The big thing that they mentioned is they will not have everything, not everything will be star mapped on Go, but they even specifically said that the ship team is trying to get as many ships as they can with star map functionality,
Not
mini map
everything.
functionality and stuff.
Yeah, not everything will be mini mapped. I think the
Yeah,
star
yeah,
map
yeah.
should probably be
Sorry, yeah,
fully
star map should
featured.
be fun.
Hmm.
But yeah, that's obviously a massive one. Like that's if that makes 323, that's huge. And once again, it's one of those things where it's like really it's just a quality of life, but the one thing that everyone talks about every patch, every day, regardless, is when we get in Star Map.
When
So
star map, yeah, for like
yeah,
years now. Rich said landing zones and ships were the priority. So
yeah,
that and yeah, they may not get all of them in. They're working really hard on it. But
yep,
if they don't, no big deal. Just
yeah,
work and even Jared said patch by patch, we'll get it to you, and that's
yeah.
what we want. That's what
I
we
will
want
say
for
on that as
sure.
well. I'm interested to see if the UI has improved. Well, I assume it will have, but like how much the UI has improved since they showed it at CitizenCon.
Yeah.
Because I do remember we brought up on the podcast there were a couple of things where it was like, well, this looks a bit weird or a bit messy or a little bit off
Hmm.
about like the positions of names of locations and stuff like that. So yeah, keen to get my hands on it for sure.
Yeah, yeah. So like that's when we started to get into like the more surprising stuff. Was like, all right, star map is in. I mean, it's
Hmm.
not that surprising. We've seen it in monthly reports forever.
Yeah,
Uh,
yep,
Freight elevators, I think, was one
yes,
of the next things that they touched on. That also isn't a huge surprise to me. Lots of discussion around these for years. I mean, I think I can go back to 2018 around very clear discussions of like these are our design decisions that we're going to be working
hmm
towards on these fronts. I'll see if I have any freight elevator stuff, but the yeah, here we go.
yep,
The there's a lot that they've spoken about, but there's a lot yet to be seen how this is all going to play out. They said instance hangers, they said personal. So this is a big feature that is
yep,
one of those game-changing type features, like one of the
hmm
first instances that we really have in the game. Super impactful and super different. They only
yep,
mentioned manual loading on SCL, but then if you go on to Spectrum, there was the mention of ships like the like people were confused, like I can't manually load a Carrack. How's this going to work? There
right.
might
So
there
like
might
paid for whatever. Yeah.
yeah, that they kind of implied that there still might be the cargo timer system, but it
Okay.
even in the Spectrum post, I'm not 100% sure.
hmm
Same thing about the whole C was mentioned. Are we going to have to manually load our whole Cs? No, because they're not ready to go yet on that front. But
It would also
th-
be weird. They just made a feature like 6 months ago to load the whole sea. It feels like it would have
it
been a bit of a waste.
doesn't
You know.
work. So like
Oh, it's
they're
broken again.
yeah, so their priority
Okay.
is on like fixing that kind of stuff was something that they
Yeah.
mentioned.
Yeah.
So it is what it is. But the
Yep.
I think this is probably one of the major kind of gonna make the game feel super different features.
Yep.
If I can real quickly in relation to that, and I've talked actually for hours on
hmm
a fucking picture, for lack of better words,
Oh,
but
the sneak peek this week.
the sneak
Yeah.
peek. I talked for hours about this, um, hours because
Yep.
it's so open. We went from I am in my own instance in my hangar dealing with my cargo, nobody bothering me unless I want them to bother me, to
hmm
this.
Yeah.
So this is like everything I see here is either Pirates Haven or we are changing some game systems completely because I don't know how this really is the opportunities for just interactions that are completely unwanted is insane to me. So I'm a little lost on this one. I this is one we'll see what happens when it comes in, but I
Yeah.
certainly I concern thread. I would make a concern thread about this personally, and hope to get a developer that is working on this and thinking about this to give a little bit more insight on this. These are small cargo
Yeah. Yeah.
elevators, so we're not dealing with large ships that have large crews, so not easily defendable because you're probably going to be solo one, two to three people, and they're showing a small ship, the Cutlass. right?
Yeah.
So the expectations here are this isn't like massive org cargo running gameplay.
Yeah.
So are pirates not going to hit them? Or do they think no one's going to go for them? Anybody who types base defense in the game, play the game. They don't work. So the solutions that currently exist aren't very good. So how is this all going to work? I definitely have my concerns. Now, I baited Rich because I was hoping we would get an answer. I appreciate it, bitch. I appreciate it, Rich. Sorry. Oh my God, I just called him a bitch. I did not mean that. I'm so sorry. Whoa.
Oh,
Okay.
damn, he just left chat.
Yep.
Crazy.
Shit. Sorry, guys. He said, we'll be addressing pad ramming, unwanted attention, lawful systems with new systems such as security, eventually planetary shield technology. I actually remember hearing something about that,
Yeah.
which will shield you from damage. Done.
Yeah.
So there, it's all out. It's all laid out there for you. Done.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would also say, like, even in the near future, like, 'cause those things that you said would happen will happen in the near future.
Yeah, he said
like,
it's not
they
coming.
will.
It's not all coming in 323. Some of it might, some of it might not. But it doesn't matter. Like going all the way back to the beginning discussion about SCL and ISC, the fact that you're talking about it, the fact that you're prioritizing thinking about that stuff is all that matters to me. Just lay it out there and let people know, and we're good, right? It could be a terrible system for a patch or two where people are being annoying, knowing that it's going to go away. I don't care.
Yeah.
Sorry,
but I would
Rich.
also say I don't think it would necessarily be that annoying. I don't think it would unless you're like being told to move a lot of valuable cargo, or well, I mean that'd pretty much be it. Would be valuable cargo. Like pirates and PvP players don't kill people for a delivery box. You know what I mean? Like that's not a thing that happens now. And that's the same thing. You're still doing that publicly. So I don't necessarily think it'd be an issue. It really depends on what we're actually going to be using this for when it does arrive.
I'm making we're all making assumptions here. We have to. It's just a picture. My assumption here is that this is their solution to cargo missions, which are essentially delivery missions, right? This is the solution to the ridiculous cargo. What are they called? Not timers, but you know how you have to wait for the cargo to refresh, the refresher of cargo.
Oh, like through trade, yeah.
Yes. So for me, I think that this is their plan to solve that problem. When I look at this, you're not taking a C2 here. You're not taking a Caterpillar here because I see what appears to be an 8 SCU size box only. It only goes maybe 2 to 3 deep of those. So the amount of time it would take you to fill a Caterpillar here versus a Caterpillar at a station, say, that's going to give you 32. Well, Caterpillar is a whole different story. Let's use C2 as an example. 32 SCU boxes, much simpler there. So I will be doing my cargo hauling in those locations because my profit will be better. I'll be able to do things a lot faster. These are where smaller cargo ships are finally going to feel exciting. Pure speculation here, guys, but just look at it. It's small. Everything is small, right?
No, that's fair.
And I think that it's a more realistic way of being like, I load 16 SCU at a time, and then you put it in your ship, and then I come down, and then I give you more, and then I give you more, and it's like, all right, well, this makes sense for a ship with 64 SCU. It doesn't make sense for a ship with 600 SCU. So these small outposts actually start serving small cargo haulers, and then here we are. Makes a lot of sense. Maybe they won't get hit by pirates as much, but they're super open, so I'm like, what the hell? Rich dealt with that for us. Thank you, Rich. You're awesome.
The fact that this sneak peek exists as well confirms sort of a theory that we had from the monthly reports. The last monthly report, the economy team had talked about how they were going to do things with it was like do things with outposts with the upcoming freight elevators and like economy changes. So like, yeah, it's good to see that they will be there and that it's going to be used in places other than hangars.
Yeah. My last thing on this is just my preference for piracy is you don't usually do your piracy at the port of Los Angeles or Port Miami. You do your piracy in like the middle of that strait around Africa with like the Somali pirates, right? Like where
Yeah, yeah.
it's less defensible, right? So that's where those things would
Yep.
be happening because they weren't happening in more defendable locations, right?
Mhm.
These should be more defendable locations. These are likely businesses that are selling you cargo. They want to remain businesses and not be pirated. If we're talking about like Brio's
What if they're
Breaker
getting paid
Yard,
off by the pirates, though, Mike?
hey, yeah,
What if it
that's
was
fine.
all part of it?
That's fine. But if we're talking about like Brio's Breaker Yard, totally different story, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's sort of designed to be a bit sketchy. Oh, my
Yep.
light's doing the thing again. Damn it. Stop it.
Stop doing the thing.
It's just going to keep doing that.
Whatever.
We
It's
got
pretty
so
cool.
we got a couple more big ones that we should get to, and then
And then
we've
we'll go to
got
callers. Yeah.
so many callers. Blockade Runner is on its way.
Yes.
Apparently, so aiming for 323 once again. This is the dynamic event that's replacing Night Tales Lockdown that they talked about in like August last year. It was a while ago. I
Yeah,
swear it was before CitizenCon at
bro.
the very least.
I'm not keen on this one personally.
Yeah, no, not super hyped about it, but it's also been long enough that they've talked about it that maybe some things have changed from when they talked about it. So we'll see what happens there.
Yeah, I mean,
And then yeah,
they mostly talked about how they just want to make it Xeno thread. I got a little some clips on it, but I
yeah,
think it's mostly just devs talking, and I think there was like a little couple mission, like Moby-Glass mission things there,
yeah,
but yeah, we'll see on this one personally. The
yeah.
big one I think was big change coming to Xeno threat, right?
Yes, which I imagine is at least in part some of the missions that I was talking about last week that we got to see in the tech preview like patch. And they mentioned specifically with it as well. There'll be something before 323 with it. So I imagine that they're at least probably going to market 323 as like Xenothreat are doing some stuff, and here's some cool things and whatever, and then also here's all the features because they
Yeah.
kind of do that with a lot of the patches, right?
Hmm? Yeah.
The new loot system, which once again,
Rich
sort of
cleared
once
up
again
for
ties
us.
into like the ties into the interactions.
You're
The
gonna be
one
looting
that
armor quickly and
yeah,
easily.
yeah,
Hell
exactly,
yeah.
which is very good.
Yes.
But then they also, it was like the smallest mention is that we were going to get a new Moby-Glass app for shops, or a
No,
shopping app was like the
no,
word.
that is not a. It was at CitizenCon. I'm pretty sure it was like the way you interact with the panels, and they might.
I must have missed it then, yeah.
I don't think that's as big of a deal. I don't think it's a big deal at all. I think it was a
Okay.
very small mention at the CitizenCon interaction system with Inez, I think, and she just was like, yeah, and by the way, you connect to this more easily, and I think they say
Yep.
exactly what Rich is saying in chat. They're just replacing the Flash UI with building blocks, so they're
Okay.
they're still going through that stuff. I don't think it's like the like flagship kind of. I don't think
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
going to be on the patch video.
Sure,
Right?
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Probably the last two major things. One, we got to see from the economy team finally, Mike. After they started getting talked about since
I have a
August.
suspenders emote now. It's a Giga Chad
Love
with
it.
suspenders.
Love it. That's
Yep.
fantastic. So yeah, they talked a bit. Once again, they talked a little bit about just what they do because they hadn't been on camera before, which was awesome to hear because ever since they got added to like the monthly reports, I've been really excited to hear from them.
Yeah.
And then most of the stuff was talking about like, we're going to be changing the prices of ships and guns and all that sort of stuff, which I think is really relevant just because like for the most part, ship prices haven't changed since we got a wipe every 3 months. And so the game itself has changed in a lot of ways. And there's, people immediately get every ship within like there's missions that have issues that cause people to get rich, but like people still regardless just get everything too quickly right now and then they get bored with it.
Yeah.
So some good changes there. And some of them getting cheaper too, which I like.
Yeah, some ships got cheaper. Most ships sounded like they got a lot more expensive, but with like logical reasons why military ships should be more expensive, so on and so forth. I do have a lot to say on that subject of this. Very much comes along the line with everything that very very thematic to what I've been saying all day. Is sure Raise the prices. One of the reasons they said they want to raise the prices on certain ships, specifically multi-crew ships, was the fact that we want you. This was what they said, and I'm paraphrasing here. We want you guys to work together to purchase ships together. The only feature that exists in the game that currently allows for that is to simply transfer funds from one account to another. Outside of that, you completely have broken any aspect of that existing whatsoever. I cannot load into another person's ship via the bed. I cannot log out on another person's ship via the bed. I cannot take from the ASOP terminal another person's ship out of the bed. I cannot take my own ship and say, hey, Croncy, you're allowed to use this ship. So you can go ahead and raise the prices with the idea in mind that you want us to buy them together. You have to immediately pivot after that to prioritize, in my opinion, the ability to share with each other a lot better. And you could take your time doing one feature at a time, but I cannot get behind raising the prices to 45 million for a hammerhead if I can't, if only one person owns it and I can only use it when that one person is on. For now, I think you can tell us what your intentions are, and I am totally fine with your intentions because you got to make the game at some point. Like Jared went hard on Reddit about this, was like, I know you guys are going to say this is because you want to sell more ships. That is obviously not the reason. The obvious reason is they need to make the damn game. The reason they're doing it is to make the game. The result is, if you don't put these systems in place, people are going to be forced to buy them on the website.
Yeah.
So like the Reddit threads are justified, but Jared's frustration towards the fact that they're there is also justified, right?
Sure.
Because the reason they're making them is probably for the wrong reasons. I just think you need to give players the ability to work together, and there's a lot of systems in the game that have actually, we've regressed more recently with that, with being unable to bed log in people's ships and other things like that. So for me, we got to start thinking about Orgs 2.0 or Orgs 1.0 or Orgs 0.0. We got to start thinking about those things if we're going to start developing the game around working together in a game that very much makes it difficult to do so, right?
Sure.
So, yeah.
Would you to just go on it a bit? So this is specifically just the economy team working towards that, right? I would argue that there are some teams, of course, that are working towards that gameplay, just not directly. Engineering gameplay is like working towards multi-crew, not necessarily org aspects.
Like I'm very specific on what I think needs to happen, though.
What team would be the one that would work on, like, in-game org interactions? And should that be a priority over the stuff they're doing?
Yeah, sure. Rich. So Rich is more of like the overall dude.
Yep.
I don't care what team works on it. It doesn't matter. I'm just saying, like, I think one of the things that we as community members need to, how we give feedback is saying what's important for us to be prioritized. And Rich responds to things that I'm saying, but I don't think they're relevant to my issues. He said, missions are undergoing a refactor to allow more seamless multiplayer experience. 100%. Cool.
Yep.
Good for missions. Both missions themselves and how parties interact with them. Cool. Good for missions.
Yeah.
I'm speaking specifically on ships, and specifically the ability to share those with other players, which absolutely goes against the funding model, which absolutely goes against some of these things. So if we don't do that kind of stuff, which is clearly the intention of, they have spoken about this for 10 years, that the larger ships, they wanted to be earned as a group. This thing, this Javelin is $3,500 or whatever it is. Doesn't matter what it is in real life money. We want you to earn it as an org. That was always what they said. And even what I love is that new economy guy comes in and reiterates that. So we haven't budged from that. Good.
Yeah.
Good. What are you going to do to make it work? Because the only way it works is if you, me, and others. Well, this is fucking crazy. He says crafting, just saying.
You can craft a javelin, confirmed. Richard Tara said it.
Well, to be honest, like javelins were originally supposed to come like super empty, and then you were supposed to build them up and stuff. Like that was like a big org thing.
Fair, like build up the modules and whatever.
Yeah. So he might be talking about that. They did.
Yeah, but it's still not that. Like your point isn't that. It's like the actual interaction
ASOP
systems
terminals
do not exist.
I need to go into my ASOP terminal, choose that ship, and say, org members can spawn. Party members can spawn, like that kind of stuff. Because if we are buying a ship together, if you and I split a ship, you need to be able to have the same interactions with that ship as the person who went to the terminal and purchased it.
Yeah.
Otherwise, none of it makes sense. That is the point I'm trying to make. Now here we're getting somewhere. Permissions are in the plan for both homesteads and your ships. Rant over. It's in the plans. Done. I don't have to say anything else. Just want to make sure that they're in the plans and that that's what you want to do. Dust off my hands. I never have to say it again. I just have to reiterate that it was in the plans.
We will say that again.
I will say how important it is to me, and I will say that it's in the plans. And that's it. Alongside org permissions. We don't ask when. Shut up, chat, because we know that that's not a thing. Be very happy that they're sharing with you anything. Don't ask when. I know it sucks, but yeah. And he says we're building an MMO. I love to hear it. I love to hear these words. This is so wonderful.
Now let's get to the last thing before we get into the callers, because me and Mark have been talking way too much, as we normally do. We sort of touched on this a little bit. In the future, post 323, armors and suits will have roles that give them an advantage in certain areas, such as combat, engineering, and medical. This is something that they've never necessarily talked about making, but always talked about, like, that'll be a thing, you know, like it'll happen at some point.
CitizenCon was the most, like, focused discussion around that.
Yeah.
That was my number one at CitizenCon. That was my number one.
Yeah, it's huge.
That was that was progression. That was progression. And that was another thing economy team was like really big. What do you want to know? Jesus Christ. This is such an opportunity. I'm taking it. Okay? Callers, sorry. I want to know okay, so at CitizenCon it was exclusive to Dusters. We did not see any from the Duster's armor, we did not see anything super focused career-wise because they were pirates, so it was Duster focused. There was rare to or common to legendary. Cool. We know the legendary armor is in the works because we saw it in a sneak peek last week or the week before. What I want to know is talk to me about they sounded like they mentioned medical. Talk to me about medical armor. Talk to me about mining armor. Talk to me about salvage armor. Give me a little bit more on what that means. I guess that's give me a little more details.
Yeah. I think the only thing that we got at least
do we
from
get
the
them?
SCL in regards to that was like combat armor, you know, has extra combat UI, right?
Yeah.
So like, where does that extend and how?
The only other thing they mentioned was like more interaction points to be able to place similar things on them and stuff. So yeah, I'm really curious, like, what will a medic look like versus a miner versus a salvager versus a pure combat player? And
if you punch lights, they work.
Hey. So yeah, I'm curious about that, but outside that, callers we're gonna get to, you guys will probably get to like 3-ish of you. I want to try something. Oh, sorry, Croncy. I want to try something new, where we just kind of put ourselves out there for all the topics, and then that gives the callers the opportunity to respond to anything that we had talked about today instead of yeah, we've been experimenting a lot, so this was sort of an experiment I wanted to try today on that. So yeah, we have 5 main categories: combat, spec ops, interesting, utility, support, and pilots. All of these categories will have progression from uncommon to legendary. They will all have vertical progression and provide improved gameplay in that area. So I guess utility is more of like we will see like maybe dedicated salvage, dedicated
Mining or
mining
whatever.
kind of stuff in there.
Yeah.
And then yeah, you have your combat, and then Spec Ops sounds like hacking stuff, right? And then
Or like
support.
stealthy, like maybe you've got you know how we have we didn't hear about it, so I assume it's not coming in 323, but or it might still, but the like when they did the FPS ping scan, maybe
Yeah.
if you've got that Spec Ops armor, you don't pop up as often or something.
Yeah, it'll be more stealthy. Yeah, and he said this
Yeah.
is not 323. I was gonna
Yeah, yeah.
ask, are we gonna see any like Duster stuff in 323? The Dusters, it's still very weird to me the way that armor has worked. It's been more clothing and less armor, but they
I
live
feel
in
like
Stanton. There's
that's
no
one of the features that's
breathable
fallen
places
victim
really.
to like the art team was able to make it really well and really quickly before the intended mechanic
Like
was
the
in it for it.
gameplay team was like got it right or whatever.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
But all right, you guys wanna you wanna go to some callers and we'll
Yeah. This
talk
is
to
a
some
call
people.
show after all.
Yeah, we did say that at the beginning. All right, Meme Guppy is first, but he is not allowed to ask me to play FTL. I think he's going to bring that up because he asks me every day. Meme
Meme
Guppy,
Guppy, how you doing?
what's up, man?
I won't. I won't. I won't.
I'm kidding.
I won't do that. I won't do that. Yeah, I'm good, man. You guys?
Yeah, doing good.
Good.
I am fucking excited, man. Like this week has been crazy.
Mm.
What are you excited the most about?
Like the new EVA, the economy, the combat. It's everything is really cool.
Nice. Are you playing like the current game now, or are you waiting for 323 like me? 323 is so good. I
Well,
can't play 322 anymore.
well, I play it, but not
Hi, Rich.
often. You know, I play it maybe 4 times a year or something because
Oh.
with the updates, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of players are in that camp, right? Like I hear a lot of people just come back for the patch and play for like a week or two and then
Yeah.
wait again.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm doing, right?
Mm.
But yeah, what Rich is saying in the chat, it's really exciting. All the stuff he's dropping right now, it's
Yeah.
giving me copium.
It's giving me anxiety because everybody gets
What did I
mad.
say, Mike? They're confident. They're confident right now.
No. Everybody gets mad when they do it in my chat because they're like, "Why are they giving him information?" Ugh. The next hate thread is already beginning. I already
Damn right.
see
I'm
it.
posting it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, the CIG devs, they love you for some reason. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Maybe you're the only one who's critical of the game, and the others are just kind of like chilling, right? So
Yep.
I don't know. Mike's not even in an advertisement. Anyway,
That's
is there
true.
any is there any specific feature? This is one question I'm probably going to ask every caller.
He's
From
here 'cause
everything they said on
Croncy's here.
SCL and everything they said on ISC, what do you, Meme Guppy, think is the most likely to make it in? There'll be a couple, but what
Ooh,
do you
and the
what do you
most
think
likely to
is gonna
fall
win?
off, and the most likely to fall off.
And the most likely to fall off? Yeah. What do you think's actually what might get pushed?
I don't know, man, but I think like the interaction system, of course, has got to be in.
Sure.
The star map, it's got to be in because people want this for so long already, and it's been, it needs to be in. It's otherwise the game will never go anywhere. So this is the most important, I think. And also, the EVA, it's been bad for a while now. So improving this and the way it looked, it made me wet a little. It's like this is an actual space game. It's becoming an actual space game.
It's because he spilled his water on himself because he was so surprised. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
no.
what I'm talking about. Yeah. But no, but
stand up,
yeah.
stand up, Meme Guppy, stand up.
And I think one thing that they don't talk about it often, but it opens the door. All this stuff. It's like space becoming an actual vacuum, right? Because right now in the game, space is not a vacuum. If you open your ramp of your ship, nothing happens. If you stand in an airlock and you open it, nothing happens. You don't get ejected out in space.
This isn't
So
323
this opens
though.
the door, right?
Well,
No. I mean after 323 opens the door for that. That's what I'm talking about, right?
Sure, I don't necessarily think that'll be any type of gameplay we'll get though.
Oh, are you
No,
are you
no, no,
trying
no.
to
That's
are you
not what
trying
I'm
to make
talking
a
about.
connection to the EVA system? Like the next step
Yeah,
would
yeah, yeah.
be
That's
the
what I'm doing.
engineering stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's a stretch,
yeah,
but
yeah.
okay. It's a bit of a
Yeah?
stretch.
You think?
There will be interactions between them theoretically, because you should be out. Like already, there are interactions in game that you can turn off gravity. There's like a reclaimer mission where you turn on and off gravity. So that sort of stuff.
Well,
Yeah, I don't think we'll have like explosive decompression ever in the game.
no, no,
I think that's
no.
a bit much.
I think after,
Yeah.
but I think actually engineering might have a chance to go into 323. This might be something
Really?
we're gonna. Yeah. I think it might be possible because they've been
Imagine.
working on this for a while, right? They've
Imagine.
like
Bro, they're
the
maybe
copium.
they're maybe gonna get master modes in with all the ships. Okay, master modes, something that they talked about
Maybe.
2 years, 3 years ago. And you really think they're going to get internal maps, all the interiors of every single ship with interiors, all the interaction points, all the engineering, please.
Man,
calm
I'm
your
just
tits on this.
hoping, right? It's hopium.
Okay, but let me just
yeah.
like bring you to reality with engineering. We all want it, but it was
Okay.
very clear that when they said that they wanted to put it in an experimental mode, that's how far away it was. That they were going to give it to you in
that's
one
true.
ship so you can tell them how it felt. So my hopium and my copium is that even though the team that worked on Arena Commander moved to the PU, that they still give them a little bit of time to do something like that because it is so important for the PU that we still need that Arena Commander experimental mode. That's how I want to see engineering in 2024. I don't see how we're going to see it until maybe the very end of it on all the ships. All right. But yeah. So.
Well,
What do you think?
sure.
But imagine though, Mike. Imagine.
I mean, we can imagine it feels good, right? But I mean that. I'm taking you back down to earth on that one, brother.
Yeah,
but
that was a strong take.
Yeah, you were on.
But
you
I mean,
were on
there's gonna
Pyro.
Yeah.
You were
I don't think
Pyro
is gonna drop. I don't think Pyro is gonna drop this year. Actually, I don't believe it.
You think we'll get another like test preview maybe, but with like some new features, some changes, things like that? But I don't think we're gonna be jumping to it.
Yeah,
maybe
probably
until towards the end. But yeah,
I think it'll. I mean, we've said it every year. I think it surely will be this year. But
yeah,
the
surely
the tech preview. Well, it seems. Well, we'll see we'll find out if they ever tell us what the data came up. But yeah, I don't know. I think we'll see it by the end of the year. But yeah, I did say the exact same thing January last year and the exact same thing the January before that. So
well, I thought it was gonna drop in 2018. So
I rewatched SitCon 2018, and he was talking about server meshing, and he does the I'm not going to give you a date. I know the date, but I'm not going to say it. And it's like, you don't know the date.
Man.
Shut the fuck up, man. Jesus Christ. Stop this
let's
shit.
not even talk about the sandworm. Oh my god.
Oh
Jesus.
yeah. But all
I
right.
remember it all.
I want it from you, Meme Guppy, of all the things that you remember them talking about coming into 323 in either ISC or SCL. Which one is the most likely one to not be here?
To not.
Yes.
I don't know, man.
it's a challenge for the devs. The devs are watching right now, and whatever you say is coming, that's gonna force it to come.
I think like the economy. I'm not really sure about the economy because we still haven't heard anything about Tony Z. We don't know where he is, and there's only 2 people on the team.
Quickly.
Yeah, go ahead, Croncy. Go ahead.
Mike. Yeah, Tony Z and the economy team are not the same people.
Oh,
like
okay.
Tony Z is Quanta and all that sort of stuff. The economy team is how does money Star Citizen, and that's it. That's what they do. They talk to all of the other teams. They talk to the mission team.
Yeah, they're already doing like they've already raised the prices of armors. They're talking about doing stuff with weapons. I certainly hope they keep some of the stuff that their predecessors did with like certain things not being there. But they never mentioned the economy. Dynamic economy. They're just the last mention of the dynamic economy was maybe even from Rich actually. They went through and their goal is, we like how the dynamic economy is progressing, whatever that means. And then what we need to do is make sure there is an economy to be dynamic. So that is their goal, is to slowly work through these things. The ginormous ship prices and things like that are part of that in their opinion or their feelings and the direction they want to go. Elliot in chat said they did the bunker changes and the salvage mission changes. So like the ERT missions being insane and all the balancing of the economy with the mission team stuff, they've gone through and resolved a lot of those issues. So you're seeing them do
that's
work.
a good start.
Yes,
that's
exactly. And that's and we're gonna see them slowly progress through the 5+, 6+ years of nobody giving a shit what the economy did, to now having a dedicated team. I think the word they used was cohesive, and it's going to take a while for them to get there, but their goal is to get there. So that's why we stopped you on dynamic. That's definitely not coming in. So what of the things that they mentioned? So we're talking big bunkers, master modes, star map, interaction system, a lot of the FPS
I'm actually
stuff.
quite positive. I think it will be in. I don't think.
There you go.
Think everything's getting in.
That's an answer. You don't have to choose. If you don't think anything's
I do think that.
That is an answer. Well, all right, Meme. Let's let you go because we got a bunch of callers, but first time calling, right?
Sure.
Right. I'll play FTL eventually, all right? Because you were a good caller. If you were a bad caller,
I'm
I was never
going to
bother
you with this again, right? So
I was never going to play it, but I will play it eventually now. Okay.
Okay. Ciao, guys.
Later, man. All right. Our next caller is Sick Mechanico.
Yep.
What's up, Sick?
Sick.
What's going on, guys?
How we doing?
I mean, we're doing it. I mean, there's a lot to be done, I guess, for CIG. So, expectations.
How you feeling? A lot of talking.
Yeah, but coming from statistics, last year I think they put in 90% of the things that they said they would put last year. So, hopefully, if they hit the 80-90% mark after saying all that they're gonna do this time, I think we should be good.
But they are being the opposite of as conservative as they were last year on what they were telling us. So that's like the whoa, you're really confident. Why are you I'm not used to this anymore. This is weird. So yeah, it's like it's a good feeling. It's interesting one. So hopefully they live up to the standard they are resetting for themselves, a la the 2014, 2015 days where this game was the best damn space sim ever and all this crazy stuff, which is sort of what this is the biggest year ever. You know, they're starting to say a lot of similar things.
Yeah.
If there's any year they can live up to it, it's this year, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think we're in good hands. I think people coming from Squadron to work on the PU really gives that confidence to say, hey, we have more people working on this. We have people that have done it, and now they're just going to migrate. I mean, I think that's where the confidence is coming from, and seeing already the changes from even from 323 coming from 322 now playing it, and it's probably the most stable. And bunkers are kind of messed up right now, but Siege was working fine for the first 5 days and it kind of died down. But everything else is probably working the best I've seen playing this game every day for the last 2 years. So it's fun to get in there and get things done. Even if they only work 80% of they should be working, like consignment missions, we can go in there and shoot a bunch of people nonstop, but then you can deliver the boxes. It's working, but it's not like it just works. It is kind of working, but it gives me confidence that we can see things happening within 323 whenever that comes out.
Damn, man, the Twitch chat's going hard. They're typing Copium Galaxy. That is the largest Copium emote you can type, and I don't think you're.
Hey man, I get to play the game and have fun. I mean, that's all I need. Really.
I don't think. Yeah, I think they're being unreasonable with you. I think you're having a pretty normal take here. Come on, chat, relax.
With the like a large reason for, well, likely a large reason for like them saying that there will be so many features in this next large patch is like the squadron guys. Are you not at all concerned? Because this is one thing I am concerned about. I think they'll probably figure it out,
What?
but I'm still concerned
Concern,
that
Croncy?
new emote. I'm making that. Yeah, are you not a little concerned that because they're going to be putting so many things, or at least they're going to try to put so many things in at once? If they do, because we also may end up with a situation where we've got 323.1, 323.2 that peppers them a bit more, brings them in a bit slower. But yeah, you're not concerned that there's going to be like major release issues. That's sort of what
Stability.
I'm a little. Yeah, I'm a little bit scared of
Oh,
that we may just see
It's a good point.
30K
318.
after 30K after 30K because they've brought in 13 features, whereas they normally bring in 2
I
or
don't think
3.
we get
I'm
318 again. And to be fair,
Yeah.
they're already putting 323 in Evo, which is they seem to have the same concern as
Sure.
you and are likely trying to try to prevent this from happening again. A 318
I
from
will
happening again.
expect 318 all over again. That's what I'm expecting, and I don't really care. I mean, if that's what it needs to be done, so all the features get to work, I mean, so be it.
That should
As long as
should
it's out.
never
If-
be an option, and that should never be a
Yeah.
thing that happens again.
I agree.
If
Ever.
a 318 happened again, it would you would lose so many veterans of the game. It would be an actual tragedy.
Yeah.
I don't want it to happen, but
Broken
I mean,
and
the
318
expectation
are
is to be
very
broken.
different.
Yeah.
Broken and
Yeah.
318 are very different. Let's be very clear. 318 was unplayable because you couldn't even log in. Broken is every day. So a little bit more broken than what you have now is not 318. Okay?
Yeah.
So 318 can never happen again. Their entire letter from the chairmans and everything we're saying is everything we're doing is to avoid that from ever happening again. So the hope is that's the case.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no one wants to be in that situation, least of all the devs. So I think they'll try to avoid that as much as possible. But I think, like a flaky release
It's certainly
is
possible.
Yeah. And that's sort of the only concern that I have with them trying to put this many things in, because I do think the amount of devs that are now, well, I think it's fair to say that the vast majority of them have been onboarded with the way that they've been talking about these features now.
Well, and they're also onboarding with the features that they worked on. So they're they know the features in and out. It's just about the multiplayer. Like Jared definitely pointed out on SEL a lot. You don't just turn on multiplayer. Some of this stuff is going to be a real big pain in the ass. I think last week I was like, they talked about the takedown thing being a thing that they're working on. Well, yeah, sure, it looks cool in a Sitcon demo, but how am I taking down Croncy? Did we work on that yet? Almost definitely not.
Very tall.
That's something they're working on. Yeah, I'm not taking him down. That's for sure. Not in real life, but maybe in game. But yeah, I think for example, master modes. Like I said, they're ripping the Band-Aid off. It's gonna be rough, but it's not gonna be 318.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think out of all of them, all of the features, I think master mode is going to be the one that's going to give us the most trouble. Just because I don't think the ships will be balanced properly, the speeds are not going to be balanced properly. I haven't played master modes. Ship fighting is really not my area of expertise. I like it. I know how to do it somewhat, but it's not my thing. And I'm just gonna wait until it comes out and figure the shit out,
Yeah.
But I think there's gonna be the balance issue is gonna be very bad when it comes out. Even when they said that not all ships maybe are gonna come out with master modes, how does that gonna work with being live on PU?
It feels weird to not have all ships have master modes. That feels really strange. And I mean they may end up getting all ships, but I don't know about that. But
I also really hate the new EVA. I know everybody likes it, but I really hate it.
Really?
I do. I really hate it.
Speak more. Yeah, why?
Speak
Why do you hate
more.
it?
I mean, I think if they had an option to switch between vertical and horizontal navigating, then yeah.
Well,
I don't like
your frame of reference. Essentially, you are still doing that. It's just where your default camera is you looking up.
Yeah, I just watching the videos. I don't think the animations look very fleshed out. It just looks very janky to me. Like when they show the people going into the ship and switching from vertical to or horizontal to
Do
vertical,
you
it
play
just
the game in
looks.
third
Yeah.
person?
No.
Why do you care then?
Uh, I mean, I do walk in third person sometimes. It's kind of fun, but
It'll
I
matter if you're
care.
looking at the person, I guess. Like if I'm looking at Sick,
Have you
come
have you
in
ever
and
had
be
like
janky.
firefights in space? Like if you put everybody in that pose, it's just gonna, I don't know. I have a bad feeling about this new EVA. I think for navigation and moving around the ship, yes, it's gonna work perfectly.
Mm.
Again, I just think that we should have maybe a toggle or something to be able to also traverse in vertical rather than horizontal the whole time. I do really like that it's gonna be decoupled. I think that's was missing very
Yeah. We
badly.
didn't talk about that. That's I feel like that's a
Um,
big deal. Yeah.
yeah, but I don't know. I just think flying like Iron Man kind of pose all the time is just, I don't know, looks weird even for combat. Like if you try and shoot someone in space.
Chat is roasting you, bro.
I don't give a fuck about what Chet says.
Me
Everybody has their own
neither.
Good.
opinions,
Yeah.
Me
so
neither.
they can say
Fuck 'em.
whatever. Most of these people in chat don't even play the game anymore. So
True.
Yeah, they're just here to watch Mike.
so yeah, exactly.
for.
So they can say whatever they want until they get into a firefight around Korea, and then they can't fucking hit shit because you can't see the guy anymore because the guy's just hiding in a little corner
That's
in prone
right.
position in space.
Yeah.
It's gonna
I
be
do want to.
ridiculous.
I do want to
Chat.
hear. I like the points that you're making for the most part. Sick. I do genuinely want to hear what your opinion of it is once you get your hands on it.
Oh, I
Because
still want to
I
hear his
think
opinion about my
based on
Twitch
what you're
chat
saying,
now.
I think you actually will enjoy it. Well, I mean, we've all only seen it. We haven't played
Yeah.
it, but I think you will enjoy it more than you maybe are saying.
You
Based on what
like when people are like salvaging ships, for example,
Mhm.
repairing ships with the
Mhm.
SRV gun or the multi-tool, how stupid they're gonna look in prone position repairing the ship. And also the other thing that I
They're
don't
not
like
going.
is the whole
They're
is the grabbing the hands on surfaces. I don't. It looks like they're swimming rather than walking in space. And how is their hands locking to? Like for example, they show the guy crawling on top of the carrack, right? Like going around using their hands to move forward. If you were in space, if you touch that thing, it would just push you away. You wouldn't grab it.
magnets.
So if you have magnets in your hands, then you should have in your mag boots, right? So why are we using our hands? So then you can have a gun out instead of just be like floating around. So I don't like the push and pull. It's cool. I think that's why they're doing that pose and everything. But like the whole grabbing to the ship from outside with your palms up it looks really weird to me.
So this is what it's like when people say I'm being nitpicky. I get it now, sort of. Like your opinion is your opinion. It's fine, but I think you're being a little bit nitpicky on the way it looks, and maybe not paying as much attention on that it's an improvement from the way we interact with the world currently.
Definitely is. I'm not
right?
saying it's not. It just
Yeah,
looks
yeah.
weird.
And it's totally fine to be nitpicky about the way it looks. I actually feel very similar about the animations being a little bit janky, and the hands on the ship is also very weird. I thought we were going with mag boots, so like I am in agreement, but I'm in the place in the frame of mind of something as simple as from the first person's perspective, if it is a better experience, that is a great addition to 323. And even in SCL or ISC, they were pretty clear on that. Hopefully this will look even better when it gets into your hands. That was like something that they said right at the end. So I think they're like implying that they know it looks a little bit jank, and that their goal for the next little bit is to actually improve that stuff for someone like you who noticed the and me, the jank in the animations, and hopefully smooth that stuff out for the people around you that are in EVA. So yeah, like I do feel like you're being a little bit nitpicky because we can give them a patch to remove the jank a little bit. And also the hands on the ship thing was also stated to be like the natural step into 0G push and pull, where you're going to be pushing and pulling and holding on to things.
That
so
would be cool.
it seems like it's a bit of an interim thing, and the hands on the thing will be not as often of a. They needed something when you get close to a surface to not be like how we have now. Okay.
Yeah, it's definitely. The
Mike,
whole
did you
traversing.
mocap the old EVA?
Like try
CIG
to
and play,
navigate
right?
a reclaimer with no gravity is definitely stupid right now. Like you
Yeah.
just
Yeah,
keep
yeah.
clipping into everything. It's
So
pretty terrible.
yeah,
So yeah,
but
you improve gameplay. I just don't like the way it looks. That's all.
sick.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
Let's.
glad to hear from someone like who doesn't fully love it.
Yeah,
Essentially, because
exactly.
I am obsessed with it. I love it. I think it's great. I think the animations are fine and in some cases fantastic. But I like to see the
The
other side too. Yeah.
rolling around and moving, they're
Yeah.
that
Yep.
smooth.
Yep.
But sick. It's been a bit of a longer call. 30 seconds, minute. What are your final thoughts on
Uh,
everything?
I would say thanks for Rich being here and saying so many cool things
Hell
that he
yeah.
said.
Big
It
and
was really
rich.
nice meeting Croncy at
Yeah, you too.
CitizenCon. I briefly spoke to him there. Um, when you mentioned about the picture and all the craziness about the cargo loading,
Mhm.
I think it's only natural when they started working on base building that they will come up with something around. So after Rich said that, to me it makes sense what they're trying to do. I
Mhm.
hope they do more reputation stuff because reputation is kind of broken right now, and unlock stuff. And uh, I've been doing a lot of work with some of the devs testing stuff. I post stuff on Spectrum all the time now. I'm trying to do something good, I guess, for the
Mhm.
whole thing. But I just want to say hi to Elliot because he's fucking cool. And thanks guys for having us here. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for
Cheers,
being
man.
here,
We
man.
appreciate
Thanks
it.
for sharing your thoughts. I think he left. No, he hasn't left. Sick.
Yeah.
Thank you for your call. Be good. You
Yeah.
got
Thanks, guys.
real
Thanks.
quiet. We appreciate you, man. Be good.
Sorry, thanks.
Gotcha, mate.
All right. All right. Next in line, and we'll probably go space and maybe one more. So, well, Strixus, I'm going to get in because I told him to get into the queue, but I don't know why he
Yeah, yeah.
wasn't in the order that he was in.
Yeah. This is going to be a little bit of a longer one, guys, but it's 323 stuff. It's
Yeah.
huge stuff. Everyone
So
wants to talk about it. So.
let's bring in our boy Space. Space.
How you doing, Space?
We're keeping you in
Hello.
line today. We're keeping you in
Mike
line.
would like to apologize.
No.
Yeah. I was
I
I was
don't.
about to say I'm ready to get screamed at by Mike again.
No. Starting drama.
No, just kidding. No, it's fine. It's fine.
He's starting drama, guys.
Yep.
I didn't call Rich a bitch, so come on.
That's true. I can't believe it. That's how it slipped. Oh my god.
So
Freudian
yeah, what's
promise.
323? Everything that happened.
A focused 323 discussion from you, Space Monkey. 100%
I- to-
323. That's the goal today.
No,
Talk to me.
that was definitely about to stick. Even to streamline the appearance a bit more, I densed it down to 4 points. That's all for today, at least for me. So the first was the IC. When I looked at the EVA, I thought about, I don't know if you played it. I thought about Anthem, the game from, what was it?
I saw other
I've
people
seen
comment
animations
that.
of it. I've never played it.
Okay, I played it a bit and it reminded me a lot of it, and I liked the animations. Like, it's cool. I like the Anthem from the visual points. And for the PIS, I thought, so they have it now, like you press F. Yeah, I also love it, but I was curious about one thing. So you press F, which is like the default, or it's like the default action. Then you double tap, which is the second option. And do I understand it correctly that if you still hold F, you get something similar to what we have at the moment?
It is that is the damn it. We should have asked Rich. That is the one of the things that are unclear, because on SCL they communicated that you still have the option to do something like that. Johnny Jasivius said that, but then I don't remember on the ISC, and maybe Twitch or YouTube chat can help us here a little bit with how do you get into the interaction wheel. I assume it's hold F. But now you kind of have to assume hold F might be that more tactile. I'm going to move my mouse around to select one of the many picos on the ground that they showed in that in the ISC.
Was it not established that it's essentially press F for primary, double press F for secondary, hold F for the mode, and wasn't that essentially it?
Yes.
Or am I missing something?
That's what you assume. But then on SCL, when he says you're still going to be able to use something similar to the interaction mode that we have today, where you move your mouse around a little bit more. Now I don't know.
Because
And
there's one
that's why
scenario.
Space
I mean,
is bringing it up, I think, because it was unclear.
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It's also unclear because, I mean, if you have a very cluttered desk, I mean, it worked pretty fine with the plushies they had on the ground.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
So I
they're
said,
big.
okay, it's fine. But yeah, but there's one scenario where I was curious because when you go to an elevator at a landing zone at the moment, you have a lot of hangars. So how do you interact with that? I mean, is there like the F comes up for the elevator panel, and then if I press it, the wheel comes up, but then you have like 24 hangars, and the wheel is huge. It's like because
Well-
I like the version how it is now that you scroll through the list and then you just press on one of the hangers, and if
Do
then
you
an
have
animation
24
comes
hangers
up-
anymore though?
It doesn't matter. The
Like, you know.
the interaction system is for like items and things that have okay, so the interaction systems for ammo and picos and things like that. We have a very polished and finished elevator button system. That shit ain't changing.
Yeah.
Like what they're replacing here is when I hold F over a body and a paragraph of words come and a million options. When I go to the elevator panel, I do hold F to bring up my my mouse to click the button, which is why I think hold F is still going to be a thing. And hold F and right click will be what brings up the radio menu, which is how it works now. So, and thank you to Twitch chat for that. I saw you in there. I just don't remember whose name, but you know who you are. So so like to use the elevator, that's not gonna change drastically. You hold F and you scroll wheel and you click hanger 24, right? Or you click your personal
I hope
hanger.
so.
Yeah.
I hope so because I like it how it is at the moment.
I assume so, but again, they weren't super clear. So fair question. Okay. What else you got?
Yeah, fair enough.
I just decided to, or be more interested in the blockade runner and the Xeno threat because I decided to pick that over the bunkers, over the distribution centers, because I think Star Citizen shines pretty well in the dynamic events, and I'm curious how they work now with the master modes and the EVA, how it feels to play the different parts of Xenothreat and have like a huge space fight.
Cargo refactor Xenothreat. That's what I'm.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Are they going to give us the bigger boxes and stuff? Or?
Yeah, bigger versions of those unique like mission items that they use there. I think there's a lot has changed since Xenothreat came out. So I'm curious. And Elliot just goes, "Oh Lord, I wonder" as well, like he doesn't work on these things. So
Sneaky little death.
He was supposed to submit that today. He forgot.
Yeah, he was like, "Oh, yeah, I forgot to do that." Yeah, so I'm assuming that we'll start to see a little bit of that. I think outside of that, I don't know tractor beam stuff. So
the EVA changes it just by itself. Like imagine in Xenothreat when you are going into the like busted staff errors and stuff, the EVA now changes for all of that interaction.
I know what I'm doing.
The master modes completely changes the actual combat there, obviously, right? And that's obviously a huge part of it. So the FPS changes. Change the interactions that you're gonna have on there. So
you're leaving something out. The first thing I'm bringing is an SRV, and I'm grabbing that Starfarer, and I'm running away with it, baby.
Oh, please let us do that. That'd be so good. If they let us just like slow boat the whole Starfarer over to the Javelin.
That's a very good thing. I never thought about that one. Yeah, why not?
I always think of that dumb stuff.
Okay, the third one was the economy guys. I really like that we saw them, but I didn't expect much in terms of new information because they have to work with the things they get from the other teams and balance them out.
Yeah, and we didn't get much in terms of new info, really, right?
Yeah, it was more. It was more of a meeting for the first time.
Yeah,
is sort of how I saw it.
Yep.
I mean, we saw a lot of new developers that were actually coming over from Squadron 42, so I assume that will continue with the next SCL. So see new people and let them talk and so on. So
or
I
even just
really like
just people we haven't seen for a very long time. Like
Yeah.
not
or
necessarily
like
new,
this. Yeah, for sure. And but to get the economy more interesting, you definitely need. I mean, they dropped the two P words, progress and purpose, which like, oh yeah, they're online. And
I started crying again. That tear came in my eye when I heard those words. I was like, finally, somebody I'm on the same page with.
yeah, but I mean, you need something like crafting or other elements to get a really good economy and
Yeah, of
other
course.
elements to it.
Yep.
But it's good to have them and that they start looking in things now and even think what they can do at the moment with what they got. And the last point, which was a really big one to me until Rich debunked it and put it down.
Yeah.
I was very curious about the new shopping app because I thought it meant there would be a new app on the MobiGlass. And I was like, oh, does that mean that I can use the fucking MobiGlass to, when I'm in landing zone, go on that app, search for any shop which is in the landing zone, and then pick my stuff. And this gets automatically sent to my storage, which I can access with the cargo freight elevators.
I don't know why you think. I don't know why anybody would think that, because I think that they were like pretty clear that they were making a new kiosk in your personal hangars, and that they would just kind of apply that work to the other terminals that you already went to. I want it to be the way you want it. Trust me.
Yeah.
I want to be using my MobiGlass and doing more things on the fly. I mean, geez, my like 5-year-old, 10-year-old smartwatch has more functionality than the MobiGlass does at this time. So, you know, like, come on.
I mean,
it could be better, obviously.
I mean, you can even leave the kiosk itself in there, just with a little caveat that when you shop on the shopping app, it doesn't give you a discount for like 20% or something. So if you have to do really big stuff, buy a lot of things or sell a lot of things, you get an advantage if you go on the ride and then go to the city and whatever and go and show up in person on the kiosk. But if you want to have like a short, quick action there and just like I land to get this and this and then I want to head off again, an app like that would be wonderful. Give me just that option, and this game feels totally different from me. It's not like tedious citizen anymore. In regards of that.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, a lot of your feelings on those interactions may change when we get freight elevators, and what the economy team ends up changing because of freight elevators, which we know that they are doing. They mentioned that in the monthly report that, you know, they've got freight elevators on the mind, and so they're going to be adjusting the economy accordingly. So maybe you may not end up feeling that way eventually, but I think at the very least, very disappointingly, today I think it's been made clear that's not happening, what you were describing.
But he said shopping experience comes later.
Yeah, she said shopping experience comes later, and so much still to learn about all the changes coming to cargo, freight elevators, how we're interacting with everything, what that thing even looks like, right? It could be so much better than what we have now. So who knows?
Yep. Big week. I'm curious. I'm looking forward to the patch, and that's it from me today. And I want to also shout out to Rich to coming to the chat and answering the questions.
Holy shit! Yeah, how awesome was
really
that?
Nice. Yeah.
Unexpected awesome. and amazing. I mean, he did the same thing at CitizenCon. It was it carried in some parts where we really needed some help because it was slow moments. We just talked to Rich and he saved the show for sure a few times. Man, it was great.
All right,
Space. Hey,
awesome.
Good call today, brother.
All right. Yeah, better
than
the
last week happen again, okay?
I mean, that was the only information I had. So because I heard you talk about that in the past at some point, and I said, just drop it there and see what happens. But let's not talk about it. Go on to the next caller.
All right, Space. Be good, man.
Cheers, monkey.
Bye now.
Thanks. Bye.
Everybody. Comedy popped out. Okay. All right. So our next caller is Strexis. Is that the right pronunciation? I'm not good at lead speak.
No. Can you hear me?
I do. You're a little low, but I'll bring you up, okay?
Okay. Testing.
You sound good. I got you. You could just you could start out with what are you thinking about 3.23 and everything that we heard today, and I'll bring you up as you're talking.
Yeah, perfect. So yeah, the coming new patch. I'm very excited. The only thing that I do disagree on, and from one of your previous callers,
Okay.
I do not think we get the engineering. I don't think we can get that in.
Yeah.
It's too much. It's like because when they first revealed the engineering, where you could see like all the entire mapping of the floors and the components in the ship, that was scary to me. It's scary.
And that was just
There's so much.
That was just one little part of it.
Yeah.
There's just one little
There's a
part.
ton
So
of
I
extra
do, of course, that's the previous caller's opinion, but realistically, there's so much going on there. There's so much gameplay features hidden behind that. So I don't think we will probably see it by the end of the year. I don't know, but for this upcoming patch, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But real quick, Strix, before we move on to the rest of your call, Sick Mechanico wanted to bring something up that he forgot, so I'll do it for him. This is what the Reddit hate thread was about. On SCL, Jared mentioned that you would maybe go down to the bunkers to get missions, like the new ones, the new distribution centers. And I thought that was a really big deal because every time we interact with missions, it's only through the Mobi-Glass. That includes the mission givers. So people didn't really get that you initially get called by the mission giver and then you go and talk to them. What Jared sort of implied, and again, maybe didn't, might be reading way too much into it, is that you go down and have a more RPG-like experience where two people are talking and you can get a mission from them. So I am aware of how many mission givers are in the game. They don't work. They suck. Their storylines are terrible. It's super unimmersive to deal with them. They've talked constantly about improving the narrative and specifically around mission givers for over a year now, and maybe we'll see some more on that.
Yeah. Not to mention, like, the mission
No
givers
need
are
for a hate
essentially
thread.
4 lines of dialogue, and that's it.
Yeah.
There's nothing super special about them.
Yeah, and here's the mission details, and then I have to read.
Yeah.
Like, you could give me the mission details. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Sorry, go ahead, Strax.
We're back.
Yeah, so the EVA system, I understand that it looked probably a little bit janky, but as we all know, if we pay enough attention to their like demonstration videos, if you look at in the lower right corner, it says work in progress. So calm down, guys. They're working on it. So yeah, but my response to
Star
this
Citizen is an alpha, by the way.
It is really?
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. So yeah, I'm looking forward to EVA system. I don't have a lot much to say about it because it's movement. What much can you do with it? Like, I understand what I'm saying right now is like, well, you can do so much about it, but I'm still like, I'm on the fence on everything. I'm still observing what they can do and what they cannot do. So yeah,
I think we're in the process.
I'm interested.
I just think we're in the process of fixing a lot of the absolute disgustingly broken things up to a serviceable place.
Yeah, of course.
So
of course.
the jank will still exist, but not to extreme levels on things
It's
like
improving.
EVA. Yes,
it's baby steps.
And I wouldn't even say I think it's significant improvements with baby steps to go from here. Does that is that a better way of saying it? I think that like the EVA was a really good example of significant improvements and then baby steps to take it to where everybody would be happy with. Well, for the most part, I think Sick was the one who didn't like the angles and stuff, but yeah.
I will still try to my best to find a way to enter all entering all my ships by face planting, no matter what.
It was fun. I did say I was gonna miss it. It was fun.
Yeah, it's my homage to Jetfire from Transformers when he lands in the desert, like one of the last fighting scene. If you've seen it, stick the landing, you know. So yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Yeah. Anything else on the 323 things?
Star map, not much to say.
Yeah.
The only thing I care about is the search functionality.
Yeah.
because
And
I
they did
hate
mention it as
scrolling,
on SEO.
dragging and clicking and
Yeah, they
all
did,
that and all that stuff. I don't like I have to scroll, I have to rotate the planet, I have to zoom in, and then I miss the text. It's annoying. So this search functionality, perfect. Everything else, and also I remember way back. I'm trying my best to stick to the topic of this session, but regarding this star map, I'm still talking about the star map, but the grid. You were a little bit annoyed, or you commented on the grid effect.
That it overlaid the
On the
planet. Was it gone?
that
I
they
didn't even
overlaid.
look for it. Was it gone? And
They
they
no,
never
I don't
showed it.
think they
They
showed
didn't
anything.
show it
They
on
never showed
SEO.
it.
Yeah.
They
They
just
just
spoke
showed the
about it.
minimap.
Yeah, they just were talking about that it's being put into this upcoming patch. But the
Mm.
grid, I understand what they're going for. Like it's supposed to look like all science fiction, but I do, I to a certain degree, I do agree with you that it might look a little bit like, what's the word for it? Clustered.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. I think the search functionality is going to help a lot with it regardless, even if it still does look a little bit cluttered or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping they do talk about that soon, because the only like we got footage from a really early build at CitizenCon, just at Orison, and then they did their view backwards and stuff, and then we just saw a couple of random images. Like it didn't feel like it was anywhere near where it hopefully is now.
And
So,
they even like kind of
yeah.
stated we got a lot
Of
of
course.
improvements to make to this. I think they were
Yeah.
pretty clear on the star map that it had a little bit of a way to go, and seems like it's made that way a bit.
Yeah, to me, it's like, as I understand it, and this is just the way of game developing and how games works these days. Like even if it goes live, we still have to remember they are still going to take in feedback for it. So don't think the live version is going to be the very finished product. So
As Jared
improvements.
says, the live environment is still a testing environment.
Exactly.
Yeah, of course. So they're gathering feedback everywhere, but
Yeah.
All right, give us one more, and then we'll probably send you on your way. I don't know. That was really rude. I don't mean it that way. I didn't know what to say.
We will kick you and ban you from the Discord.
Yeah,
so make these last minutes worth.
I didn't mean it like that.
No. Well, so the player interaction system.
Mm-hmm.
So this time you decided to give me, instead of a shopping list that goes vertical with a bunch of text, now you give me a wheel instead.
Well,
I'm not quite sure about that. I'm not quite. I need to test it. That's the thing.
I would argue that it's a lot. I would argue that it's a lot more different, because now it's
in a lot of ways it's a temporary wheel.
Yeah, and it takes you out of it. Right, like right now, when you interact with any item, you are still able to interact with every item next to you.
Of course.
And so you end up in a lot of situations where it's non-intuitive. You end up looking at different items. This seems like that fixes that.
Yeah, like how many choices are you making with all of the items that you interact with? So let me quickly try to go through as many as I can in the next 10 seconds. Water, you either put it in your backpack or you drink it. Food, you either put it in your backpack or you eat it. Ammo, you either equip it or you put it in your backpack, or you put it on your gun. Looting anything inside a body, you're putting it in your backpack or you're equipping it. So everything, for the most part, has two main interactions that you would use with them. And so yes, you're getting the wheel initially, but if you customize everything, for your first couple play sessions, you shouldn't have to see the wheel that often.
Of course. Yeah.
And then you're not dealing with it anymore.
In addition as well, I imagine some things have a default favorite. I imagine a gun has a default favorite of either inspect or equip.
Yeah.
Or ammo, grab, whatever. Like I expect that was a bit.
They likely did what they thought made the most sense for everybody, and then you can customize from there. So it most likely will be fairly good from the start.
Yeah.
But a lot of people didn't like the wheel. I get it. Fucking holograms everywhere in this game. I get it. But
more like a question for you, Mike, regarding the player interaction system.
Okay.
Like when you have to use the system to attach a scope or a barrel, all the stuff like that. Do you care about, because I don't want it to be too much depth into it, if that's the correct word for me to use. But are you interested in seeing like, oh, you're gonna attach silencer to your gun? Do you really want to see your character spend so much time like tightening it,
Yes.
connecting it? If you know what.
Yes.
Do you really want to see that?
Okay. Absolutely.
Okay. Okay.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think it's a nice touch at the
Yep.
very least.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think what they showed on stream was actually like way too sped up and looked really weird to me. Just slow it down just a tiny bit. I absolutely want that. It's I am a gameplay and fun focused person, but
Yeah.
I am also drawn to this game for the immersion that's in it, right? So
Yeah.
I still much prefer just seeing a quick screw it on rather than it pop on in certain situations. And again,
That's the word. That's the word. Quick screw on.
yeah,
That's what I want. Just a quick twirl around and good. You don't have to be all like tighten it up.
Tiny bit slower than what they showed on ISC. Just a tiny bit slower. Because here's the other aspect of that is what good gameplay is also all right, I know I want that silencer or I want that weapon attachment or I want that thing, but I'm out in the open right now. I can't really put it on. So I'm going to quickly store it and then I'm going to go to cover and then I'll deal with like that's actually gameplay. You know what I mean? It's
true.
Those little decisions that you make are really the subtle things are really some of the things that I think make games really good and really special. And if it's just automatic and then you're playing PUBG, you ever watch like PUBG, like really good PUBG players loot? Everything's on their gun. You're just like,
oh yeah,
just
trust
happened,
me, I
bro?
played it.
Yeah, same. And like that was like one of the things I prided myself on was trying to get faster at that. I didn't like that. You know, so I mentioned Escape from Tarkov a lot here. I do like the realism that game provides. There's obviously a lot of problems in that game. I don't want to be Escape from Tarkov, but I do like some aspects of it. And
you want to be closer in that direction than the other.
Absolutely, yeah. It doesn't. I
Yeah,
don't
so
want it
what
to
I'm
be exactly that, but yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is that I'm not saying that it's either like just a quick screw on, or it's either that or totally remove the animation. I'm not saying it should just magically pop up in front of you, but what I'm saying is I'm not really interested in seeing them going too far with it, if you know what I mean. Like, okay, I'm screwing it, tightening, showing that extra animation that it's tight, and if I'm gonna slide on my red dot sight, slide it on to the rail, tighten the two screws, like
I think this is maybe another situation of I think you're like it'll have to be a case of once you get it in game, see what you think then, because I don't think it's going to be as bad as you are envisioning. The like having animations of putting like attachments onto guns is once again it's a bit of a staple in a lot of games now. And I've never really had an issue with it. I've never really been like, oh man, this is taking way too, except for maybe Tarkov. Oh man, this is taking way too long. It's you know, it's very tedious. I don't it's interrupting the flow of my gameplay. I've never had that. And I think Star Citizen theoretically shouldn't have that issue either. So
I think my short short answer should just be I don't want the animations to play for too long. That's
sure, and that's reasonable for sure.
That's totally reasonable.
Because I remember you were reacting to a video, somebody playing Star Citizen, and the first thing you heard was like, "Oh, the animations, the pilot chair has to turn around, and you need to stand up when it's panicking time."
Locked into them.
Yeah, you're locked into them. You can't. Yeah, exactly. I'm all in for the animation for immersion, but don't play them for too long. That's the thing. I just short.
Yep.
That's all.
Yep. Yeah. Agreed. I'm trying to think of anything else. One of the questions we asked
Freight
people
elevators, persistent hangars.
Bring it.
Talk
to me.
More like a question.
Okay.
I must admit I haven't looked too much into it, but if I just want a med gun, for example, I just want the med gun. I don't need all the cargo containers or my vehicles. Do I enter a kiosk to just have my med pen?
Croncy,
yeah, for example, med pen. Yeah.
As far as I'm aware, they haven't super discussed like you interacting with every little piece of gear that you may have stored.
I think they have. I
Okay.
think I think
Have
it's
it?
Okay.
I think it's pretty clear. I think it's pretty clear.
I
I think there's a reason why we have cargo containers that are interactable.
okay.
That you put items in, but way before these things have come. The so
Oh, sure. But so I can sort of see where you're going. Just are you going to say that you still have to use the freight elevators though? Because that's where the
Yeah.
issue comes in.
and
Yeah,
they've
that yeah,
and they
that's where
have
the issue comes in.
expressed they have expressed that you will still use freight elevators. So
Okay.
you buy med guns from the med shop on the station, and you send those to your the specific container you want them to go into. And
Sure.
then when you want your med guns, you call them from the freight elevators. Sounds tedious. I'm not
Yeah.
I'm not the biggest fan of it. I'm gonna
Mm.
be honest. Not the biggest fan of that stuff.
Yeah,
Because
because
it seems a bit much.
when I was in the queue while waiting to come into this call, I quickly watched the showcase of the Friday elevator they showcased. There was a mentioning about a kiosk, including the freight elevator for the bigger vehicles and such. So
Yeah, you're
I
gonna
would
use
be
the
surprised if you just
they made it
yeah,
sound like you're
go
gonna
on.
use the kiosk for your personal inventory,
Smaller items.
and there's another thing like
Yeah.
that you'll deal with cargo, and sounds like there's
Yeah.
gonna be it'll be part of it. So
Yeah, because I would be surprised. It would be a little bit comedic to me, to be honest, but it would be
for
funny
one
to me
med
if
pen,
okay,
right?
I just
Yeah,
want one med pen, and this gigantic elevator comes just with open space, and right in the middle there, you see the med pen on the floor.
Well, let's slow it down now. Right now we can purchase things into our inventory. Do we think that's
Yeah.
going to change? I don't think so. So
Surely
for the
not. Yeah.
for the one
No.
med pen, I think we're going to be able to purchase it into our own inventory. And for the larger things like quantum drives, vehicle weapons, things like that, we will purchase it into an inventory container, which we will then put onto a ship. Does that
Yeah,
make
I
sense?
think that's a fair
I think
assumption.
I think we can meet in the middle. That's probably where it's going to be. It makes the most sense.
Yeah.
They're not that stupid as much as some people think they are, and will probably be somewhere in there, right?
Not to mention, you're also probably going to spend like with freight elevators. You're also probably going to spend more time storing things on your ship and keeping them stored on your ship, just so you have like if you don't want to keep going getting med pens every time you grab your ship out, don't store them on your ship. Much easier to get. You know, it'll change how you prepare in a couple of different ways, I guess.
Yeah. The shopping app, by the way, was that just correct me, please. Was it a kiosk or a Mobiglass app?
I
It's a
think it was-
Mobiglass app, but the way that it sounds like, you know, when you go up to an item and you actually like press F to buy, and then the Mobiglass pops up and it's like, here's the details. That it sounds like that is essentially just getting changed to building blocks.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, remember when the ASOP terminal changed and it was exactly
Yeah.
the same as before with all the shitty bugs it still had before? Like, some things fixed.
But it looked
it's
better.
still-
It looks
yeah. And they talked more.
Yeah.
And that was about it.
Yeah.
I've been backing this game since 2013. I
Yeah, so
remember
you know.
buying my two freelancers.
Hey.
I have the standard one and the MIS, the military one.
Remember
Nice.
the old thing that you interact with to load your ships up in your personal hangars back then?
Oof.
I kind of want that thing to come back. It was good. It was okay.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah,
It's
it wasn't
okay. I
bad.
remember being back in the day when I just the only thing you could do at that time was just walking around inspecting your ship, and it's like one day you're gonna be able to fly this.
Yeah, for sure. But all right,
And we're
Strix,
there, so we have made progress. So yeah, sorry.
for sure.
Sorry.
No worries. I'll give you your final. I looked over at the time and I was like, I don't really want to go over 2.5 today because that's a lot.
What time is it there?
It is 11:15.
But we've been going for 2 hours. Over
Yes,
2
and I
hours,
have a
which
hockey
is
game
long for us.
very shortly, and I've only slept 3 hours, so I do want to. And Comedy said he doesn't have to go. But Comedy, you and I can have let's plan a call and we'll talk about it on stream because him and I went at it a little bit today on a subject. I wanted to give him a chance to talk on the podcast. I thought that would be important, but we'll talk
Get your
on
details
stream.
ready for next week.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, final things for you. And let us know. Yeah, what do you think will guarantee to come in, and what maybe won't? How you feeling about everything?
I'm not so sure about the freight elevators. The freight elevators might be. I do have a
big
feeling that
feature.
they might. Yeah, I do have a feeling they might. I hate to say it, that is the only feature so far. I would not be surprised if they leave it out for another future patch, but we'll see. Exactly, they say whatever they say. I'm like taking with a grain of salt.
I'm gonna cut in. I can't believe I have to actually run away from the computer during another podcast. I just heard thunder and my hockey equipment's outside, and I have a game in 2 hours. I don't want it to get wet. I'm running
sorry,
and
sorry.
I'm gonna bring it in. Okay, I'll be right back. Talk away, boys.
Because he said that, I immediately forgot what you said. What were you just talking about?
No, I was saying freight elevators. That feature.
Oh yeah, they may not arrive. I think
it may not
it's
arrive.
that's a pretty reasonable assumption. That like I don't think it's necessarily any specific percentage, but if there was a feature that wouldn't make it, I could see it being freight elevators, especially because it requires instancing, right? And as far as I'm aware, they've never done instancing before in Star Citizen. People have played a lot longer than I have, but
as far as I know,
something fresh and new.
Yeah, as far as I know, they haven't done any instancing, but I don't know. Instancing would be okay, but I would also be okay with creating scenarios and moments with other players. Like if you see somebody try to stealth their way into your cargo, just inspecting and observing what do you have, if there's something I can steal or sneak on board your ship while you're looting cargo. It could create some funny moments there, but it's, I don't know. Instance, I'm totally fine with it if that's going to be a thing to keep your inventory safe.
Yeah, fair enough. Easy.
All right. Well, I guess we'll let you go and we'll say our goodbyes. But what a podcast! Great calls.
Yeah.
God, feels like we're
thank
back.
You so much for having me. This is the actual very first.
I spelled your name wrong on the top, by the way. I'm sorry. Yeah, I saw it.
Straight X.
So he typed. He was first time chatter, first stream he's ever been in, and popped in to answer the call and everything. Absolutely
last
awesome.
Stream he's ever been in.
Yeah, last stream I spelled his name wrong. He's gonna unfollow.
We have animations.
We have animations. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes, that's an inside joke. Love you guys.
Cheers,
yeah, man.
Thanks a lot.
Be good. Thanks to everyone who called. You guys were great. Great calls. Now, that was a long one, Croncy.
It was. It's almost like when we get a lot of information in a week, there's a lot of things to talk about.
Yeah, me and Croncy were like, oh no. So what are we gonna do? And then bang, this week in Star Citizen, I'm like, we're good. Don't worry, we're good. We're gonna have plenty. Yeah. So thank you to everybody, I guess, that's watching on YouTube. If you guys are on Twitch, make sure you guys check out the Answer the Call channel at Answer the Call SC. Is the channel, and yeah, we live stream on both. So chat was super busy over there. Chat was super busy over here. We had Richard and got a bunch of answers on things. I have to like go back and try to remember because there was a lot of information. I don't even catch all of it. Because there was some pretty big stuff there for sure. Yeah, I don't know. Feeling good again. Feeling very positive. But still being very cautious about what my expectations of how 323 is going to feel and play and what features will be in it. This is weird from so many aspects. A lot of guys coming over Squadron 42, but also they're being incredibly confident in a way that they used to be. Yeah, like scarily confident, where it's like, all right, what are we doing here? So looking forward to seeing what happens over the next few weeks. ISC content, SEL content sounds like it's going to be pretty good. So just really excited.
Roadmap roundup. That's going to be a big one because it's even more confidence about what they think is actually going to arrive. Assuming they talk about 323.
Yeah,
what's going to arrive there? So.
Yeah, it's a few months out. I don't see. Last thing I think I want to predict. We talked about it last week. When do you think we see 323 live? I am still
late June live. Late June.
Damn,
live.
You're even worse than me. I'm late April, early June. That's like my feelings. This is a lot of stuff. So it is the Q1 patch, but it's being worked on in Q1. When it actually comes out, I don't know. So this might be like, honestly, This might be the first year we don't get 4 patches. Like that's how big this patch is.
Didn't we? We only got 3. I don't remember how many patches we get every year, but yes, I agree. I don't think we'll see 4
320,
major patches.
321 in last year.
But if everything they said they are aiming for came this year, came in this patch, that's like 3 or 4 patches worth. That's how kind of like, once again, aiming for 323, kind of insane. So yeah, it's huge.
And
Mike is fighting with a dev.
Yeah, Elliot's yelling saying we get 6 patches a year jokingly, and I'm like, Siege fixes are not like a full patch or whatever. Come on, man. But yeah, like I'm talking about like the dot patch, like the 3.23, 3.24. Like we get tons of patches. Actually, I think it's probably more than 6. But yeah, so like for the major ones, it's supposed to be 4. So that was it. That was the podcast. Really appreciate it. If you guys are here on Twitch, make sure if you didn't check out the whole show, it is long. It will be up on YouTube, and this is a longer one, so it might be a little bit longer.
It might be like an hour and a half, 2 hours or something from now.
Yeah,
but it'll be up.
And if you're watching on YouTube and haven't stopped by the Discord yet, discord.gg/SaltEMike while we're live, and we'll bring you in the calls. So far, most of the people I'm seeing from Twitch chat, but you guys in YouTube, discord.gg/SaltEMike. There's a big green circle up there. If you pop in there, we'll bring you on in and chat with you guys as well. So thank you to everybody who's watching, and I hope you guys have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your weekend, and look forward to catching up with you guys next week on some hopefully more 323 features. But I also gotta say, oh, that was so slick. Don't forget
to answer the call.
Let's go. Thanks for watching, everybody.